Welcome to the Behaviour Revolution Scriptures, Book of Matthew, Chapter 1. This is the ancestry, the family tree of Yahusha the Messiah. He came from the bloodline of David, who was from the bloodline of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his 11 brothers. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez was the father of Hezron, father of Ram. Ram was the father of Amminadab, father of Nahshon, father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab, the Jericho prostitute. Boaz was the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth, and Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of King David, the father of King Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife, Bathsheba. Solomon was the father of Rehoboam, father of Abijah, father of Asa, father of Jehoshaphat, father of Jehoram, father of Uzziah, father of Jotham, father of Ahaz, father of Hezekiah, father of Manasseh, father of Ammon, father of Josiah. Josiah was the grandfather of Jehoiakim and his brothers, who lived during the time that the people were taken away, exiled to Babylon. After the house of Judah were taken to Babylon, Jehoiakim was the father of Shealtiel, grandfather of Zerubbabel, father of Abiud, father of Eliakim, father of Azor, father of Zadok, father of Achim, father of Eliud, father of Eleazar, father of Matthan, father of Jacob. And Jacob was the father of Joseph, who married Mary, the mother of Yahusha, who is called the Messiah. So there were 14 generations from Abraham to David, then another 14 generations from David, until the people were captured and exiled to Babylon. Then there were 14 more generations from the time of the Babylonian exile until the Messiah was born. This is how the birth of Yahusha the Messiah happened. His mother, Mary, was engaged to marry Joseph, but before they married, he learned that she was pregnant by the power of Elohim's Spirit. Joseph, being good, righteous, and obedient, didn't want to cause Mary any public disgrace or embarrassment, so he planned to divorce her secretly. But no sooner had Joseph thought about this than the angel of Elohim came to him in a dream, saying, "Joseph, son of David, don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child inside her is conceived by my Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you will name him Yahusha, meaning I am your deliverance. So make sure you give him that name, because he will deliver his people from their sins." All this happened to fulfill what Elohim had said through the prophet. The virgin will be pregnant and will give birth to a son, and they will name him Emmanuel, meaning Elohim is with us. So when Joseph woke up, he did what the angel of Elohim told him, and straightway married Mary. But Joseph did not know her, in other words, have any sex with her, until she gave birth to their firstborn son. And he named him Yahusha. Chapter 2. Yahusha was born in the town of Bethlehem, in Judea, during the time when Herod was king. After Yahusha was born, some wise men from the east came to Jerusalem. They asked people, "Where is the child who has been born to be the King of the Jews? We saw the star that shows he was born. We saw it rise in the sky in the east and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard about this, it upset him, as well as everyone else in Jerusalem. So King Herod called a meeting of all the chief priests and scribes of Moses' law, asking them where the Messiah would be born. They answered, in the town of Bethlehem in Judea, just as the prophet wrote, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, you are important among the rulers of Judah. Yes, a ruler will come from you, and that ruler will lead Israel, my people. And that reference was from Micah chapter 5. Then Herod had a private meeting with the wise men from the east and learned from them the exact time they first saw the star. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, Go and look carefully for the child, and when you find him, come back and tell me, so I can go worship him too. After the wise men, or magi, heard the king, they left. They saw the same star they had seen in the east, and they excitedly followed it. And the star travelled before them until it stopped above the place where the child was. And remember, Yahusha was around 2 years old by this time. And they were so overjoyed and rejoiced seeing the star. The wise men came to the house where the child was with his mother Mary. They bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened the boxes of gifts they had brought for him, giving treasures of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Then that night, after being warned in a dream not to go back to King Herod, the wise men went home to their own country by a different way. After the wise men left, an angel of Elohim came to Joseph in a dream, saying, Get up quickly and take the child with his mother and escape to Egypt, for Herod wants to kill the child and will soon start looking for him. So stay in Egypt until I tell you to come back. So Joseph got ready and left for Egypt with the child and his mother during the night. And Joseph stayed in Egypt until Herod died, which fulfilled what Elohim said through the prophet in Hosea 11, I called my son to come out of Egypt. Herod saw that the wise men had fooled him, and he was furious. So he gave an order to kill all the baby boys in Bethlehem and the whole area around Bethlehem. Herod had learned from the wise men the time the baby had been born, and it was now 2 years from that time. So he said to kill all the boys who were 2 years old and younger. This fulfilled and gave meaning to what Elohim said through the prophet Jeremiah. A sound was heard in Ramah, bitter crying and great sadness. Rachel cries for her children, and she cannot be comforted because her children are gone. And that's from Jeremiah 31. While Joseph was in Egypt, Herod died, and an angel of Elohim came to Joseph in a dream, saying, Get up, take the child with his mother, and go back to Israel, for those who were trying to kill the child are now dead. So Joseph took the child and the mother and went back to Israel. But he heard that Archelaus was now king in Judea. Archelaus became king when his father Herod died. So Joseph was afraid to go there. So, after being warned in a dream, he went away to the area of Galilee, to a town called Nazareth, and lived there. And this fulfilled what Elohim said through the prophets about the Messiah. He will be called a 𝗪𝗪, which means a branch or a watchman in the Hebrew. Chapter 3. When it was the right time, John the baptizer began telling people a message from Elohim. This was out in the desert area of Judea. John said, Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is very near. John was the one that Isaiah the prophet was talking about when he said, There's a voice of someone shouting out in the wilderness, Prepare the way for Elohim and make the path straight for him. That's in Isaiah 40. John's clothes were made from camel's hair, and he had a leather belt around his waist. For food, he ate locusts and wild honey. People came to John from Jerusalem and the rest of Judah and from all the areas along the Jordan River. They confessed their sins and wicked behavior they'd done, and John baptized them in the Jordan River in preparation for the Messiah. Many Pharisees and Sadducees came to where John was immersing people, and when John saw them, he said, You're a brood of vipers. Who warned you to run from Elohim's judgment that's coming? Repent and change your hearts and prove by your behaviour that you're genuine. Oh, I know what you're thinking. You say, but Abraham is our father. Well, guess what? That means absolutely nothing. For I tell you, Elohim could make children of Abraham from these rocks here. The axe is now ready to cut down the trees, and every tree that does not produce good fruit, in other words, produce good behaviour, it will be cut down and thrown into the fire. I baptize you with water for repentance, but someone is coming after me who can do much more than I can. I'm not even worthy to be the servant who takes off his sandals. He will baptize you with spirit and fire. He will come ready to cleanse the grain from the threshing floor, separating the good grain from the straw, and he will put the good part into his barn. Then he will burn the useless straw with a fire that cannot be stopped. Then Yahusha came from Galilee to the Jordan River. He came to John, wanting John to baptize him. But John tried to stop him, saying, "Why do you come to me to be immersed? I should be immersed by you." But Yahusha answered, "It's got to be this way for now, to fulfill all righteousness." Then John agreed. So Yahusha was baptized, and as soon as he came out of the water, the sky opened, and he saw the anointing spirit coming down on him like a dove, and a voice from the sky was heard saying, "This is my Son, the one I love and delight in." Here is a Jacob's ladder supernatural portal experience, just like the ark and the tabernacle and the temple of old. The Father and Son are being presented here, giving us an image of two different persons in power. Still, Yahusha said, "I am in him, and he is in me. We are one." So Yahusha is saying there is only one, not two or three or four. And we know that Yahusha is actually the new Elohim man, now seated on the throne in heaven, and the Father is no more. They are one. We've got to see the abstract through the imagery. Yahusha is Elohim. Chapter 4. Then the Spirit led Yahusha out into the desert to be tempted by the devil. Yahusha ate nothing for 40 days and nights, and after this he was incredibly hungry. So the devil came and tempted him and said, "If you're really the Son of Elohim, then you can do whatever you want. So tell these rocks here to become bread for you to eat." But Yahusha answered him, "It has been written, man will not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of Elohim." And that's in Deuteronomy chapter 8. Then the devil led Yahusha to the set-apart city of Jerusalem and put him on a high place at the edge of the temple area, saying to him, "If you are really the Son of Elohim, then jump off, because it's been written, Elohim will command his angels to help you, and their hands will catch you, so that you don't hit your foot on a rock." That's from Psalm 91. But Yahusha answered, "Yeah, it's also been written that you must not test Yahuwah your Elohim." And that's from Deuteronomy 6. Then the devil led Yahusha to the very top of a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and all the wonderful things in them, and said, "If you will bow down and worship me, I will give you all these things." And Yahusha said to him, "Go, Satan, for it's been written, you must worship Yahuwah your Elohim and serve only him." And that's from Deuteronomy 6. Clearly, Satan still had authority over the earth at this point in history, since he's offering it to Yahusha. But he would soon lose this authority, wouldn't he? So the devil left Yahusha, and some angels came to him and helped him. Yahusha heard that John was put in prison, so he went back to Galilee. But he did not stay in Nazareth. He went to live in Capernaum, a town near Lake Galilee, in the area near Zebulun and Naphtali. He did this to fulfill what the prophet Isaiah said, "Listen, land of Zebulun and land of Naphtali, lands by the road that go to the sea, the area past the Jordan River, Galilee, where those from the other nations live. The people who live in spiritual darkness have seen a great light. The light has shined for those who live in the land that is dark as a grave. That's from Isaiah 8-9. And from that time on, Yahushua began to tell people his message, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is very near." As Yahushua was walking by Lake Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, called Peter, and Simon's brother Andrew. These brothers were fishermen, and they were fishing in the lake with a net. Yahushua said to them, "Come, follow me, boys, and I'll make you a different kind of fishermen, fishers of men. You'll bring in people, not fish." So Simon and Andrew immediately left their nets and followed him. Yahushua continued walking by Lake Galilee, where he saw two other brothers, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were in a boat with their father Zebedee. They were preparing their nets to catch fish, so Yahushua told the brothers to come with him. So they immediately left the boat and their father, and they followed Yahushua also. Yahushua went everywhere in the country of Galilee. He taught in the synagogues, which were Jewish places for teaching and worship, and he told the good news about Elohim's kingdom, and he healed all the people's diseases and sicknesses. The news about Yahushua spread all over Syria, and people brought to him all those who were sick. They were suffering from all different kinds of diseases and pain. Some had demons inside them, some suffered from seizures, and some were paralyzed, and Yahushua healed them all. Large crowds followed him, people from Galilee, the 10 towns in the Decapolis, Jerusalem, Judah, and the area across the Jordan River. Chapter 5. When Yahushua saw the crowds of people there, he went up on a hill and sat down, and his followers came and sat next to him. Then Yahushua began teaching the people, saying, "Happy," or blessed, "happy are those who know they're spiritually in need," or poor in spirit, "for the kingdom of heaven is for people just like them. Happy are those who are sad and mourning, for they will be comforted. Happy are those who are meek and humble, for they will inherit the earth. Happy are those who hunger and thirst to live in righteous behavior, for he will satisfy them fully. Happy are those who show mercy and compassion to others, for it will be given to them also. Happy are the clean in heart, the pure, whose thoughts are pure, for they will see Elohim. Happy are those who are peacemakers, for Elohim will call them his sons and daughters. Happy are those who suffer persecution for behaving the right way, in obedience to the word, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to them. People will insult you, and people will hurt you. They will lie and say all kinds of evil things about you, all because you follow me. But when they do that, just know that great blessings belong to you. So rejoice and be glad, because you have a great reward waiting for you in the heavens. People did the same bad things to the prophets who lived before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its taste, it cannot be made salty again. Salt is useless if it loses its salty taste, and will be thrown out where people just trample on it. You are the light that shines for the world to see. You are like a city built on a hill that cannot be hidden. People don't hide a lamp under a bowl. They put it on a lampstand so the light shines for everyone in the house. In the same way, you should be a light for other people. Behave in such a way that they see the good things you do and praise your Father in the heaven. Don't ever think that I've come to destroy or abolish the law, the Torah law, or the teachings of the prophets. No way. I have not come to abolish them, but to complete them and fulfill them, breathe life and meaning into them. I assure you that no part of the eternal words will pass away until the heaven and earth are gone and all is fulfilled. Anyone then who breaks even the least of these commands and teaches others to do the same will be the least important in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever behaves every instruction and teaches others to do the same will be great in the kingdom of heaven. I'm telling you now that your behaviour must be way better than the scribes and the Pharisees if you ever want to enter the kingdom. You have heard that it was said to our people long ago, you must not murder anyone, and any person who commits murder will be judged. But I tell you, don't be angry with anyone. If you are angry with others, you will be judged. And if you insult someone, you will be judged by the high court. And if you insult someone, calling them a fool, you will be in danger of the fires of destruction. So, what if you are offering your gift at the altar and remember that someone has something against you? Well, leave your gift there and go make peace with that person. Then come and offer your gift. If anyone wants to take you to court, make friends with them quickly. Try to do that before you get to the court too, because if you don't, they might hand you over to the judge, and the judge will hand you over to a guard who will throw you into jail. I assure you that you will not leave there until you have paid everything you own. You've also heard that it was said, you must not commit adultery. But I tell you that if a man looks even at a woman lustfully, wants to sin sexually with her, he has already committed that sin with her in his mind. And if your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better to lose one part of your body than to have your whole body thrown into the lake of fire of destruction. If your right hand makes you sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be destroyed. Of course, this is a direct instruction against worldly lusts, against eroticism, pornography, masturbation, the worship of the self. This is a direct instruction about what we let our eyes see. We must make a covenant with our eyes. It was also said, any man who divorces his wife must give her a written notice of divorce. But I tell you that any man who divorces his wife, except for the betrayal of whoring or adultery, is causing his wife to be guilty of adultery too. And whoever marries a divorced woman is also guilty of adultery. You have heard that it was said to our people long ago, when you make a vow, you must not break your promise. Keep the vows that you make to Elohim. But I tell you, when you make a promise, don't try to make it stronger with a vow. Don't make a vow using the name of heaven, because heaven is Elohim's throne. And don't make a vow using the name of the earth, because the earth belongs to him also. Don't make a vow using the name of Jerusalem, because it belongs to him, the great king. And don't even say that on your own head is proof that you will keep your promise. You cannot even make one hair on your head white or black. Just say only yes if you mean yes, and say no if you mean no. Any more than that is from the evil one. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, don't fight back against someone who wants to do you harm. If they hit you on the right cheek, let them hit you on the left as well. If anyone wants to sue you in court and take your shirt, let them have your coat as well. If a soldier forces you to walk with him 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to anyone who asks you for something. Don't refuse to give to anyone who wants to borrow from you. You've also heard that it was said, love your neighbour and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies, pray for those who treat you badly. If you do this, you will be children who are truly like your Father in the heaven. He lets the sun rise for all people, whether they are good or evil. He sends rain to those who do right and to those who do wrong. If you love those who only love you, why should you get a reward for that? Even the tax collectors do that. And if you are nice only to your friends, you are no better than anyone else. Even the people who don't know Elohim are nice to their own friends. What I'm saying is that you must be perfect as your Father in the heaven is perfect. Chapter 6. Be careful when you do something good. Don't do it in front of others so that they will see you. If you do that, you will have no reward from your Father in the heaven. So when you give to those who are in need, don't announce that you are giving. Don't be like the hypocrites when they're in the streets and in the synagogues, when they blow trumpets before they give, so that the people will see them. They want everyone to praise them. The truth is, that's all the reward they will get. So when you give to others, don't let anyone know what you are doing. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Your giving should be done in private. Your Father can see what is done in private, and He will reward you. And when you pray, and remember, prayer is just communication. So when you pray, don't be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand in the synagogues and on the street corners and pray loudly, wanting people to see them. The truth is, that's all the reward they will ever get. But when you pray, you should go into your room and close the door. Then pray to your Father, for He is there in that secret place, and He can see what's done in private, and He will reward you. And when you pray, don't babble and rave on like the foreigners who don't even know Elohim, saying the same things over and over again, just like a liturgy. They actually think that if they say enough fancy words, Elohim will hear them. Don't be like that. Remember, your Father already knows what you need, even before you ask Him. So this is how you should pray. Our Father in the heaven, let your name be always kept set apart. Let your kingdom come and your will be done here on earth, just as it is in heaven. Give us the food we need for today. Forgive us our sins, just as we forgive those who sin against us. Don't let us be tempted, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the esteem forever and ever. Amen. Yes, if you forgive others for the wrongs they do to you, then your Father in the heaven will also forgive your wrongs. But if you don't forgive others, then your Father in the heaven will not forgive the wrongs that you do either. When you fast, don't make yourselves look sad like the hypocrites. They put on a look of suffering on their faces, drawing attention to themselves, so that people will see that they're fasting. The truth is, that's all the reward they will ever get. So when you fast, wash your face and make yourself look nice and presentable. Then no one will know that you are fasting, except your Father, who is with you even in the secret place. He can see what's done in private, and He will reward you openly. Don't collect treasures for yourself here on earth. Moths and rust will destroy them, and thieves can break into your house and steal them. Instead, collect your treasures in the heaven, where they cannot be destroyed by moth or rust, and where thieves cannot break in and steal them. Your heart will of course be where your treasure is. The lamp of the body is the eye. So if your eye is good, shining bright to others, then all your body will be shining also. But if your eye is evil, looking at others to do evil and profit for them, unclean, then all your body will be darkened. So if the light that is inside you becomes darkened by your choices of behavior, how great is that darkness? And oh, what a shame. Remember, you cannot serve two masters at the same time. You will either hate one and love the other, or you will be loyal to one and not care about the other. Likewise, you cannot serve both Elohim and great riches at the same time. So I tell you, don't worry about the things you need to live, what you will eat, what you will drink, or what you'll wear. Life is far more important than food, and the body is more important than what you put on it. Just look at the birds. They don't plant, they don't harvest or collect food in barns, but your heavenly Father still feeds them. Don't you know that you are worth so much more than they are? You cannot add any more time to your life by worrying about it. And why do you worry about your clothes? Look at the wildflowers in the field. See how they grow. They don't work or make clothes for themselves. But I tell you that even Solomon, the great and rich king, was not dressed as beautifully as one of these exotic flowers. If Elohim makes what grows in the field so beautiful, what do you think he will do for you? I mean, it's just grass. One day it's alive, and the next day someone throws it into a fire. But Elohim cares enough to make it look so beautiful. Surely he will do much more for you, won't he? Yet your trust is so small. Don't worry, and don't say, what will we eat? What will we drink? What will we wear? That's what the foreigners all do out in the world. And that's what they all think about Elohim. That's what they're all dwelling on. Don't be like that. Don't worry, because your Father in the heaven knows what you need, and he knows all the things that you need. So seek first Elohim's kingdom and behaving how he wants. Then he will give you all these other things that you need. Don't worry about tomorrow, for each day has enough trouble of its own. Each day has enough evil of itself to deal with without worrying about tomorrow. Just trust in belief. Chapter 7. Do not judge, so that you are not judged. For with what judgment you put out comes right back on you. And with the same intensity and energy that you put out, it comes right back on you straight away. Elohim will treat you the same way that you treat others. Why do you notice the small speck of dust that is in your friend's eye, but you don't notice the huge log of wood that's in your own eye? Why do you say to your friend, "Oh, let me take that speck of dust out of your eye"? Take a good look at yourself first. You still have a huge log of wood in your own eye. You're a hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye. Then you'll see clearly to help your friend remove the speck from their eye. Don't give something that is precious and set apart to the dogs, or throw your pearls to swine, for they will only turn and rip you to shreds and trample you underfoot. Ask, and Elohim will give to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. Yes, whoever asks will receive, whoever seeks will find, and whoever knocks will have the door opened for them. Do any of you have a son? Well, if he asks you for bread, would you give him a rock? Or if he asked you for a fish, would you give him a snake? Of course not. You people are all wicked, yet you still know how to give good things to your children. So surely your heavenly Father will give good things to those who ask him. Treat others the way you'd want them to treat you. For this is all the law and the prophets in a nutshell, doing this behavior. Enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction. And there are many people who enter in through it, because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed that leads to life. And there are very few who ever find it. But beware of false teachers who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are savage wolves. By their fruits, their behavior, you will really know them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? No. Likewise, every good tree yields good fruit, but a rotten tree yields wicked fruit. And fruit, of course, is behavior. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit. Every tree that does not produce good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. You will know these false people by the way they speak and behave. And not everyone who calls me Master, Master will enter the reign of the heaven, but only those who do what my Father in the heaven wants. And on the last day, many will cry out saying, Master, Master, we prophesied in your name. We cast out demons in your name. We did all these many amazing miracles and wonders in your name. But I'll tell you, I'll say to those people clearly, get away from me, you disobedient, wicked people, for I never knew you. Whoever then hears these teachings of mine and obeys them is like a wise man who built his house on a rock. It rained hard, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, but it did not fall, because it was built on the rock. Whoever hears these teachings of mine and does not obey them is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. It rained hard, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a loud crash. When Yahusha finished speaking, the people were amazed at his teaching, for he did not speak like their scribes and teachers of the law. He taught like someone with true authority. Chapter 8. Yahusha came down from the hill, and a large crowd followed him. Then a man sick with leprosy came to him. The man bowed down before Yahusha and said, "Master, you have the power to heal me if you want." Yahusha touched the man, saying, "I do want, and you are healed." And immediately the man was healed from his leprosy. Then Yahusha said to him, "Don't tell anyone about what happened, but go and let the priest look at you to declare that you're ceremonially clean, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for people who are made well. This will show everyone that you are truly healed." Then Yahusha went to the city of Capernaum, and when he entered the city, an army officer came to him and begged for help. The officer said, "Master, my servant is very sick at home in bed. He can't move his body and has much pain." Yahusha said to the officer, "I will go and heal him." But the officer answered, "Master, I'm not worthy enough for you to come into my house. Just give the order, and I know that my servant will be healed. And I know this because I understand authority. There are people who have authority over me, and I also have soldiers under my authority. I tell one soldier, 'Go,' and he goes. I tell another soldier, 'Come here,' and he comes here. I say to my servant, 'Do this,' and my servant obeys me." And when Yahusha heard this, he was amazed and said to all those around him, "The truth is, this man has more trusting belief than anyone I've found, even in Israel. Many people will come from the east and from the west. These people will sit and eat with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in Elohim's kingdom. And those who should have the kingdom will be thrown out. They will be thrown outside into the darkness, where people will cry and weep and grind their teeth with pain." Then Yahusha said to the officer, "Go home. Your servant will be healed, just as you believed he would." And right then and there his servant was healed. Yahusha went to Peter's house and saw that Peter's mother-in-law was in bed with a high fever. So he touched her, and the fever left her. Then she stood up and began to serve him. That evening, people brought to Yahusha many people who had demons inside them. He spoke, and the demons left the people. He healed all those who were sick. So Yahusha fulfilled what Isaiah the prophet said. He took away our diseases and carried away our sicknesses. And that's from Isaiah 53. When Yahusha saw the crowd around him, he told his followers to go to the other side of the lake. Then a scribe, who's a teacher of the law, came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you any place you go." And Yahusha said to him, "The foxes have holes to live in, and the birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to rest his head." Another of Yahusha's followers said to him, "Master, I will follow you too, but let me go and bury my father first." But Yahusha said to him, "Follow me, and let the walking dead bury their own." Then Yahusha got into a boat, and his disciples went with him. After the boat left the shore, a very bad storm began brewing on the lake, and the waves covered the boat. But Yahusha was sleeping. So his disciples went to him and woke him up, saying, "Master, deliver us, quick, we will drown." But Yahusha answered, "Why are you so afraid? Why don't you trust me?" Then he stood up and commanded the wind and the water to stop, settle down. Then the wind stopped and the lake became very calm. Then the men were amazed, and they said to each other, "Who on earth is this? Even the wind and the waters obey him." That's because he's Elohim. So Yahusha arrived at the other side of the lake, in the country of the Gadarean people. There, 2 demon-possessed men came to him, running out from the burial tombs, and were so dangerous and ferocious that no one could use the road by those caves. They came to Yahusha and shouted, "What do you want with us, Yahusha, son of Elohim? Did you come here to punish us before the appointed time?" Near that place there was a huge herd of pigs feeding. The demons begged Yahusha, "If you make us leave these men, please send us into that herd of pigs." Then Yahusha said to them, "Go." So the demons left the men and went into the pigs. Then the whole herd of pigs turned feral and ran down the steep hill, diving into the sea, and they drowned in the water. The men who had the work of caring for the pigs ran away into town and told the people everything that happened, especially about the men who had the demons in them. Then the whole town went out to see Yahusha, and when the people saw him, they begged him to leave their area. Chapter 9. Then Yahusha got into a boat and went back across the lake to his own town. Some people brought to him a man who was paralyzed and was lying on a mat. Yahusha saw that these people had stacks of belief. So he said to the paralyzed man, "Young man, cheer up and be strong, for your sins are now forgiven." Some of the scribes heard what Yahusha said, and they said to themselves, "What insult and blasphemy is this? No one can declare that." But Yahusha knew what they were thinking, so he said, "Why do you think such wicked thoughts in your heart? For which is easier to say, 'Your sins have been forgiven,' or to say, 'Get up and walk'? But in order for you to know that the Son of Man has all authority on earth to forgive sins." Then he turned to the paralyzed man and said, "Rise up, take up your bed, and go home." And the man got up and went home. And when the crowd saw it, they marveled and praised Yahuah, who had given such authority to a man. When Yahusha was leaving, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the place for collecting taxes. Yahusha said to him, "Follow me." So he got up and followed Yahusha. And Yahusha ate dinner at Matthew's house that night. And many tax collectors and sinners and people with bad reputations came and ate with him and his followers too. Then the Pharisees walked past and saw that Yahusha was eating with these sorts of people. So they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" And Yahusha, hearing this, said to them, "Is it the sick who need the doctor, or those who are healthy? So go and learn what this means. I desire compassion or kindness, not offering. I desire compassion, not animal sacrifices. For I did not come to call the righteous to repentance, but the sick and the sinners." Then the followers of John the Baptist came to Yahusha and said, "We and the Pharisees fast often, but your followers never fast. Why is that? What's that about?" Yahusha answered, "At a wedding, the friends of the bridegroom are not sad while he's still there. So they don't fast and mourn. But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them. Then they will fast. When someone sews a patch over a hole in an old coat, they never use a piece of cloth that has not already been shrunken, do they? For if they do, the patch will shrink and pull away from the coat. Then the hole will be worse. Also, people never pour new wine into old wineskins, for they would burst, and the wine would spill out, and the wineskins would be ruined. People always put new wine into new wineskins, which won't break, and the wine stays good." While Yahusha was still talking, a ruler came to him. The leader bowed down before him and said, "My daughter has just died, but if you will come and touch her with your hand, she will live again." So Yahusha and his followers went with the man. On the way, there was a woman who had a bleeding for 12 years. She crept up close behind Yahusha and touched the hem of his garment on the 𝗓𝗓𝗓, for she was thinking, If only I can touch the corner of his garment, I will be healed." Then Yahusha suddenly turned, and when he saw the woman, he said, "Cheer up, my daughter, and take courage, for your trusting belief in me has healed you." And the woman was healed. And Yahusha continued going with the ruler and went into his house, where he saw people there making music for funerals, and he saw a crowd of people crying loudly. Yahusha said, "Go away, the girl's not even dead, she's just asleep." But the people laughed at him. But after the people were put out of the house, Yahusha went into the girl's room. He held the girl's hand, and the girl stood up. And the news about this spread all around the area. As Yahusha was going away from there, 2 blind men followed him. And they said loudly, "Show kindness to us, son of David." Yahusha went inside, and the blind men went with him. He asked them, "Do you believe that I am able to make you see again?" They answered, "Yes, Master, we believe." Then Yahusha touched their eyes and said, "Well, just as you believe, let it happen." Then the men were able to see again, and Yahusha gave them a strong warning, saying, "Don't tell anyone about this." But they left and spread the news about Yahusha all around that area. As these 2 men were leaving, some people brought another man to Yahusha. This man could not talk because he had a demon inside him. Yahusha forced the demon out, and the man was able to talk again. The people were amazed and said, "We have never seen anything like this in Israel." But the Pharisees said, "He casts out demons by the ruler of the demons." Yahusha travelled through all the towns and villages. He taught in their synagogues and told people the good news about Elohim's reign. He healed all kinds of diseases and sicknesses, and seeing the crowds, Yahusha felt so sorry for them, for they were weary and scattered like sheep without a shepherd to lead them. And Yahusha said to his disciples, "There is such a big harvest of people to bring in, but there are only a few workers to help harvest them. Elohim is the master of the harvest, so ask him to send more workers to help gather his harvest." Chapter 10. Yahusha called his 12 disciples together and gave them power over demon spirits and power to heal every kind of disease and sickness. These are the names of Yahusha's 12 disciples: Simon, also called Peter, Andrew, the brother of Simon, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, the son of Zebedee, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, Matthew, the tax collector, James, the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas Iscariot, the one who eventually betrayed Yahusha. Yahusha sent the 12 men out with these instructions: "Don't go out into the nations or anywhere near the Samaritans, but stick with the lost sheep of Israel for now. And when you go, tell them this: the kingdom of heaven is now very near. Heal the sick, bring the dead back to life, heal the people who have leprosy, and force demons out of people. I give you these powers freely, so help others freely. Don't carry any money with you, gold or silver or copper. In fact, don't even carry a bag. Take only the clothes and sandals you are wearing. Don't take a walking stick. A worker will be given what he needs. And when you enter a city or a town, find some worthy person there and stay in his home until you leave. When you enter that home, say, 'Peace be with you.' If the people in that home welcome you, they are worthy of your peace. May they have the peace you wished for them. But if they don't welcome you, they are not worthy of your peace. Take back the peace you wish for them, and if the people in a home or a town refuse to welcome you or listen to you, then leave that place and shake the dust off your feet. I can assure you that on the judgment day, it will be worse for that town than for the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Listen, I'm sending you out like sheep among wolves, so be cunning as serpents and as gentle as doves, and don't hurt anyone. Be careful. There are people who will arrest you and take you to be judged. They will whip you in their synagogues and in their gatherings. You will be taken to stand before the governors and before kings. People will do this to you because you follow me, and you will speak about me to those kings and governors and to all nations. When you are arrested, don't worry about what you will say or how you should say it, for you will be given the words to say right there in that moment. It will not be really you speaking, for the Spirit of your Father will be speaking through you. Brothers will turn against their own brothers and hand them over to be killed. Fathers will hand over their own children to be killed. Children will fight against their parents and will have them killed. Everyone will hate you because you follow me, but the one who remains trustworthy to the end will be delivered. When you are treated badly in one city, we'll go to another. I promise you that you will not finish going to all the cities of Israel before the Son of Man returns. Students are not better than their teacher. Servants are not better than their masters. Students should be happy to be treated the same as their teacher, and servants should be happy to be treated the same as their master. If those people call me the ruler of demons, and I'm the head of the family, then it's even more certain that they'll insult you, isn't it? The members of my family. So don't be afraid of those people. Everything that is hidden will be revealed, and everything that is secret will be made known. What I say to you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, speak from the rooftops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the spirit, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both being and spirit eternally. When birds are sold, 2 small birds cost only a penny, but not even one of those little birds can die without your Father knowing it. Elohim even knows how many hairs are in your head, so don't be afraid. You are worth much more than a whole flock of birds. If you stand before others and are willing to say you believe in me, then I will tell my Father in the heaven that you belong to me. But if you stand before others and say you don't believe in me, then I will tell my Father in the heaven that you do not belong to me. Do not think that I've come to bring peace to the earth, for I did not come to bring peace, but a sword and division. A son will turn against his father, a daughter will turn against her mother, a daughter-in-law will turn against her mother-in-law. Even members of your own family will be closest enemies. Those who love their father or mother more than they love me, well, they're not worthy of me. And those who love their sons or daughters more than me, they're not worthy of me either. Those who will not accept the torture stake that is given to them when they follow me are not worthy of me. Pick up your torture stake and follow me. Those who try to keep their life they have will lose it, but those who give up their life for me will find true life. Whoever accepts you also accepts me, and whoever accepts me accepts the one who sent me. Whoever accepts a prophet because he is a prophet will get the same reward a prophet gets. And whoever accepts a righteous person just because that person is righteous will get the same reward a righteous person gets. Whoever helps any of these little ones because they are my followers will definitely get a reward, even if they only give them a cup of water. Chapter 11. When Yahusha finished instructing his 12 disciples, he left there. He went to the towns in Galilee to teach the people and tell them the good news. When John the Baptist was in prison, he heard about the things that were happening, things the Messiah would do. So he sent some of his disciples to Yahusha. They asked him, "Are you the one we have been expecting, or should we wait for someone else?" Yahusha answered, "Go, tell John what you have heard and seen. The blind can see, the crippled can walk, the people with leprosy are healed, the deaf can hear, the dead are brought back to life, and the good news is being told to the poor. And blessed are those who have no problem accepting me." When John's followers left, Yahusha began talking to the people about John, saying, "What did you people go out into the desert to see? Someone who is weak, like a stem of grass blowing in the wind? Really? What did you expect to see? Someone dressed in fine clothes? Of course not. People who wear fine clothes are all in kings' palaces. So what did you really go out to see? A prophet? Yes, John is a prophet, but I tell you, he's much more than that. For this was once written about him. Listen, I will send my messenger ahead of you, and he will prepare the way for you. And that's in Malachi 4. The truth is that John the Baptist is greater than anyone who has ever come into this world. But even the least important person in Elohim's kingdom is greater than John. Since the time John the Immerser came until now, Elohim's kingdom has been violated by evil and violent ones who have seized it by force. Before John came, the law of Moses and all the prophets proclaimed the things that would happen. So if you believe what they said, then John is Elijah, for he's the one they said would come. You people who hear me, listen. What can I say about this generation today? What are they really like? The people today are like children sitting in the marketplace. One group of children calls to the other group. We played flute music for you, but you did not dance. We sang a funeral song, but you were not sad. Why do I say people are like that? Because John came not eating like other people or drinking wine and socializing, and people say he has a demon inside him. And yet the Son of Man came eating and drinking and socializing, and people say, look at him. He eats too much and drinks too much wine. He's a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is shown to be right by its behavior, not by what the crowd declares. Then Yahusha rebuked the cities where he did most of his miracles, because the people there did not repent or change their lives and stop sinning. Yahusha said, It will be bad for you, Chorazin. It will be bad for you, Bethsaida. I did many miracles in you. If these same miracles had happened in Tyre and Sidon, the people there would have repented a long time ago. They would have worn sackcloth and put ashes on themselves to show that they were sorry for their sins. But I tell you, on the day of judgment, it will be worse for you than for Tyre and Sidon. And you, Capernaum, will you be lifted up to heaven? No, you will be thrown down to the place of death. I did many miracles in you. If these same miracles had happened in Sodom, the people there would have stopped sinning, and it would be still a city today. But I tell you, it will be worse for you in the day of judgment than for Sodom. Then Yahusha said, I praise you, Father, Master of heaven and earth. I'm thankful that you have hidden these things from the clever and the learned ones, but you have revealed them to babes. Yes, Father, you did this because it's pleasing to you. My Father has given me everything. No one knows the Son, only the Father knows the Son, and no one knows the Father, only the Son knows the Father. And the only people who will know about the Father are those the Son chooses to reveal to. So come to me, all of you who are tired from the heavy burdens you've been forced to carry. Come to me, and I will give you rest. Accept my instructions, my yoke. Learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in spirit, and you will find rest for your beings. Yes, my teaching is gentle, and the burden, my yoke I put on you, is very light. Chapter 12. About that same time, Yahusha was walking through the fields of grain on the weekly Sabbath day. His disciples were with him, and they were hungry, so they began to pick the heads of grain and eat it. Then the Pharisees saw this and said to Yahusha, Why are your disciples picking grain on the Sabbath? They're not supposed to do that. That's breaking the law. Then Yahusha said to them, You've read what David did when he and those with him were hungry, haven't you? He went into Elohim's house, the tabernacle in Shiloh. Then he and those with him ate the showbread that was offered to Elohim. It was against the law for David or those with him to eat that bread. Only the priests were allowed to eat it. And you've read in the law of Moses that on every Sabbath day, the priests at the set-apart temple actually break the law regarding the Sabbath day by working in there. But they're not declared wrong for doing that, are they? It's their job to keep it running. Well, I tell you, there is someone here far greater than the set-apart temple. For if you knew what this meant, I desire compassion, not offering, you wouldn't be judging those who've done anything wrong today. For the Son of Man is master of the Sabbath day. Yahushua went from there to their synagogue, and there was a man with a crippled hand. Some Jews there were looking for a reason to accuse Yahushua of doing wrong, so they asked him, "Is it right to heal on the Sabbath day?" Yahushua answered, "If any of you has a sheep and it falls into a ditch on the Sabbath day, you will take the sheep and help it out of the ditch, won't you? Well, surely man is more important than a sheep. So of course it's right to do good on the Sabbath day." Then Yahushua said to the man with the crippled hand, "Hold out your hand." The man held out his hand, and it became well again, the same as the other hand. But the Pharisees left and made plans to kill Yahushua. And Yahushua knew what the Pharisees were planning, so he left that place, and many people followed him. He healed all who were sick, but he warned them not to tell others who he was yet. This was to fulfill what Isaiah the prophet said, "Here is my servant, the one I have chosen. He is the one I love and delight in. I will fill him with my spirit, and he will bring justice and righteousness back to the nations. He won't argue or shout, and no one will hear his voice in the streets. He won't break off even a bent stem of grass, or put out even the weakest flame. He will not give up until the right behavior is victorious. Even the nations will trust in his name." And that's from Isaiah 42. Then some people brought a man to Yahushua. This man was blind and could not talk because he had a demon inside him. Yahushua healed the man, and he could talk and see. All the people were amazed at what Yahushua did. They said, "Maybe he is the promised son of David." When the Pharisees heard this, they said, "This man casts demons out of people, using the power of the devil, the ruler of demons." And Yahushua knew what the Pharisees were thinking, so he said to them, "Every kingdom that fights against itself will be destroyed, and every city or family that is divided against itself will not survive. So if the devil forces out his own demons, then he is fighting against himself, and his kingdom will not survive. You say that I use the power of the devil to cast out demons, so if that's true, then what power do your people use when they force out demons? So your own people will prove that you're wrong. But I use the power of Elohim's Spirit to cast out demons, and this shows that this reign has come to you. Whoever wants to enter a strong man's house and steal his things must first tie up the strong man, mustn't they? Then they can steal anything they want from his house. So it's really simple. Whoever is not with me is against me, and anyone who does not work with me is working against me. So I tell you, people can be forgiven for every sinful thing they do and for every wicked thing they say against Elohim. But anyone who speaks against the set-apart Spirit and what he's doing will not be forgiven. You can even speak against the Son of Man and be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the set-apart Spirit and what it's doing will never be forgiven, now or in the future. Either identify the tree as good and its fruit as good, or identify the tree as rotten and its fruit rotten, for a tree is only known by its fruit. You brood of vipers, you are so evil. How can you say anything good? What people say with their mouths is merely the overflow of their heart. Those who are good have good treasures stored in their hearts, and that's why they say good things. But those who are evil have hearts full of evil, and that's why they say things that are evil. I tell you that everyone will have to answer for all the cruel, careless things they've said. This will happen on the day of judgment, and your own words will be used to judge you, and what you said will show whether you're innocent or whether you're guilty. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered Yahushua, saying, "Teacher, we want to see you do a miracle." But Yahushua answered, Only a wicked, adulterous generation wants to see signs and miracles, but no miracle will be given to them, only the sign of the prophet Jonah. For just as Jonah was in the stomach of the whale for 3 days and 3 nights, the Son of Man will be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights also. On the judgment day, you people who live now will be compared with the people of Nineveh, and they will be witnessed to, show how guilty you are. Why do I say this? Because when Jonah preached to those people, they repented, but not you. And you are listening to someone far greater than Jonah, but you still refuse to repent. On the day of judgment, you people who live now will also be compared to the Queen of the South, and she will be a witness who shows how guilty you are. I say this because she travelled from far, far away to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and I tell you now that someone far greater than Solomon is right here, but you won't listen. When an evil spirit comes out of a person, it travels through dry places looking for a place to rest, but it finds none. So it says, I will go back to the home I left. And when it comes back, it finds that home still empty, all neat and clean. So the evil spirit goes out and brings back 7 other spirits more evil than itself. Then they'll go and live in the house, and that person has even more trouble than before. And it is exactly the same way with this wicked generation today. And while Yahushua was talking with the people, his mother and his brother stood outside. They wanted to talk with him. So someone told him, your mother and brothers are waiting for you outside. They want to talk to you. But Yahushua answered, who is my mother? Who are my brothers? Then he pointed to his followers and said, see, these people are my mother and my brothers. Yes, anyone who does what my Father in the heaven wants is my true brother and sister and mother. Chapter 13. That same day, Yahushua went out of the house and sat by the lake. A large crowd gathered around him, so he got into a boat and sat down. All the people stayed on the shore. Then Yahushua used stories or parables to teach them many things. He told them this story. A farmer went out to sow seed. While he was scattering the seed, some of it fell by the road. The birds came and ate all the seed. The other seed fell on rocky ground, where there was not enough dirt. It grew very fast there because the soil was not deep. But when the sun rose, it burnt the plants. The plants died because they did not have deep roots. Some other seed fell among thorny weeds. The weeds grew and stopped the good plants from growing. But some of the seed fell on good ground. There it grew and made grain. Some plants made 100 times more grain, some 60 times more, and others still 30 times more. You people who hear me, listen. Then his disciples came to Yahushua and asked, why do you use these stories to teach the people? Yahushua answered, because only you guys can know the secret truths about Elohim's kingdom. Other people cannot know these secret truths. Those who have some understanding will be given more, and they will have even more than they need. But those who do not have much understanding will lose even the little understanding that they have. This is why I use these stories to teach the people. But see, they don't even see me. They hear, but they don't really hear or understand me. So they show what Isaiah said about them is true. You people will listen and listen, but you will not understand. You will look and look, but you will not really see. Yes, the minds of these people are now closed. They have ears, but they don't listen. They have eyes, but they refuse to see. If their minds were not closed, they might see with their eyes, they might hear with their ears, and they might understand with their minds. And they might turn back to me and be healed. But Elohim has blessed you, for you understand what you see with your eyes, and you understand what you hear with your ears. I can assure you, many prophets and righteous people wanted to see what you now see, but they did not see it. And many prophets and righteous people wanted to hear what you now hear, but they did not hear it. So listen to the meaning of that story about the farmer. What about the seed that fell by the path? That's like the people who hear the living words of Elohim's kingdom but don't understand it. And the devil comes and takes away what was planted in their hearts. And what about the seed that fell on the rocky ground? That's like the people who hear the living word and quickly and gladly accept it. But they don't let that word sink in deep in their lives and take root. They keep it only a short time. Then as soon as trouble or pressure comes because of the word they accepted, they give up and stumble. And what about the seed that fell among the thorny weeds? That's like the people who hear the living words but let worries about this life and love for money and riches stop it from growing. So it does not produce a crop in their lives. But what about the seed that fell on the good soil? That is like people who hear the living words and understand it. They grow and produce a good crop, sometimes 100 times more, sometimes 60 times more, and sometimes 30 times more. Then Yahusha used another story to teach them, saying, "The kingdom of heaven is like a man who planted good wheat seed in his field. And that night, while everyone was asleep, the man's enemy came and planted darnel, which is poisonous toxic weeds, planted them among the wheat. Then they ran away. Later the wheat grew, and heads of grain grew on the plants, but at the same time the weeds also grew. Then the man's servants came to him and said, 'You planted good seed in your field, so where did the weeds come from?' The man answered, 'An enemy planted weeds.' The servants asked, 'Do you want us to go and pull up the weeds?' And he answered, 'No, because when you pull up the weeds, you might also pull up some of the wheat. Let the weeds and the wheat grow together until the harvest time. And at the harvest time I will tell the reapers first this: go and gather the weeds and tie them together to be burnt. Then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn.' Then Yahusha told the people another story. 'The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that a man plants in his field. It is the smallest of all seeds, but when it grows, it is the largest of all plants. It becomes a tree big enough for the birds to come and make nests in its branches.' Then Yahusha told them another story. 'The kingdom of heaven is like leaven, or yeast, that a woman mixes into a bowl of flour to make bread. The leaven makes all the dough rise.' Yahusha used stories to tell all these things to the people. He always used stories to teach them. This was to fulfill what the prophet said, 'I will speak using stories. I will tell things that have been secrets since the world was made.' Then Yahusha left the people and went into the house. His followers came to him and said, 'Explain to us the meaning of the story about the weeds in the field.' He answered, 'The man who planted the good wheat seed in the field is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good wheat seed are the people in Elohim's kingdom. And the darnel are the toxic, fake people who belong to the devil. And the enemy who planted the bad, poisonous seed is the devil himself. The harvest is the end of time, and the reapers who gathered are Elohim's angels. The weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire. It will be the same at the end of time. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will find the people who cause sin and all those who do evil. The angels will take those people out of his kingdom, and they will throw them into a place of fire and destruction. There the people will be crying and grinding their teeth with pain. Then the obedient, righteous people will shine like the sun. They will be the kingdom of their Father. You people who hear me, listen. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. One day a man found the treasure. He hid it again and was so happy that he went and sold everything he owned and bought the field. Also, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. One day he found a very fine pearl. He went and sold everything he had to buy it. The kingdom of heaven is like a net that was put into the lake. The net caught many different types of fish. It was full, so the fishermen pulled it to the shore. They sat down and pulled all the good fish in the baskets. Then they threw away the bad fish. It will be the same at the end of time. The angels will come and separate the evil people from the obedient righteous people. They will throw the evil people into the place of fire and destruction, and there the people will cry and grind their teeth with pain. Then Yahusha asked his disciples, "Do you understand all these things?" They said, "Yes, we understand." Then Yahusha said to the disciples, "Every believer in the living words of the kingdom is like the owner of a house who brings both exotic, bizarre, fresh and ancient things from his wealth of treasures." When Yahusha finished teaching with these stories, he left them, and he went to the town where he grew up and taught the people in the synagogue. And they were amazed, saying, "Where did this man get such wisdom and power to do miracles? Isn't he just the son of the carpenter we know? Isn't his mother's name Mary? And aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon and Judas? And don't all his sisters just live here in town? How is he able to do these things?" So they had a problem accepting him. But Yahusha said to them, "People everywhere give honor to a prophet, but in his own town or in his own home, a prophet does not get any honor." So Yahusha did not do many miracles there, because the people did not believe in him. Chapter 14. About that time, Herod, the ruler of Galilee, heard what the people were saying about Yahusha. So he said to his servant, "This man is really John the Baptist, I think. He must have risen from the dead. And that is why he can do all these miracles. Because before this time, Herod had arrested John. He had him chained and put in prison. He arrested John because of Herodias, the wife of Philip, Herod's brother. John had told him, 'It is not right for you to be married to Herodias, your brother's wife.' So Herod wanted to kill him, but he was afraid of the people, for they believed that John was a prophet. So on Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias danced for him and his group, and Herod was so very pleased with her. So he promised that he would give her anything she wanted. Herodias told her daughter what to ask for. So she said to Herod, 'Give me the head of John the Baptist here on this plate.' King Herod was very sad, but he had promised to give the daughter anything she wanted, and the people eating with Herod had heard his promise. So he ordered what she asked to be done. He sent men to the prison where they cut off John's head, and the men brought John's head on a plate and gave it to the girl. Then she took the head to her mother Herodias, and John's followers came and got his body and buried it. Then they went and told Yahusha what happened, and when Yahusha heard what happened to John, he left in a boat. He went alone to a place where no one lived. But the people heard that Yahusha had left, so they left the towns and followed him. They went by land to the same place he went. When Yahusha got out of the boat, he saw a large crowd of people. He felt sorry for them, and he healed the ones who were sick. Late that afternoon, the disciples came to Yahusha and said, "No one lives in this place. It is already really late. Send the people away so they can go to the towns and buy food for themselves." But Yahusha said, "The people don't need to go away. You give them some food to eat." His disciples answered, "But we have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish." Yahusha said, "Bring the bread and the fish to me." Then he told the people to sit down on the grass. He took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish. He looked into the sky and thanked Elohim for the food. Then he broke the bread into pieces, which he gave to his followers, and they gave the food to the people. Everyone ate until they were full. When they finished eating, his followers filled 12 baskets with the pieces of food that were not eaten. And there were about 5,000 men there who ate. Some women and children ate also. Then Yahusha made his disciples get into the boat, telling them to go to the other side of the lake. He said he would come later. He stayed there to tell everyone they could go home. After Yahusha said goodbye to the people, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. It was late, and he was there alone. By this time, the boat was already a long way from the shore. Since the wind was blowing against it, the boat was having trouble because of the waves. Between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Yahusha's disciples were still in the boat. Yahusha came to them, walking on the water. And when they saw him walking on the water, They were petrified, screaming, "It's a ghost! Look, it's a ghost, a phantom!" But Yahusha quickly spoke to them. "Don't worry, oi, it's me. Chill out. Don't be afraid." Peter said, "Master, if that's really you, then tell me to come to you on the water." And Yahusha said, "Come on, Pete, come to me." Then Peter left the boat and walked on the water to Yahusha. But while Peter was walking on the water, he suddenly saw the wind and the waves all around him. He became afraid and began sinking into the water and shouted, "Master, help me!" Then Yahusha took Peter by the hand, saying, "What is it with you, bro? I thought you trusted me." After Peter and Yahusha were back in the boat, the wind stopped. Then the followers in the boat bowed down before Yahusha and said, "You really are the son of Elohim." Yahusha is Elohim. Then they came to the shore, Gennesaret. Some men there saw Yahusha and knew who he was. So they sent word to other people throughout the area that Yahusha had come. The people brought all their sick people to him. They begged Yahusha to let them only touch the edge of his garment to be healed. And all the sick people who touched his garment were healed. Chapter 15. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees came to Yahusha from Jerusalem and asked him, "Why do your disciples not obey the traditions we have from our great leaders who lived long ago? Your followers don't even wash their hands before they eat." But Yahusha answered, "And why do you refuse to obey Elohim's commands so that you can follow those traditions that you have instead? For it is said, you must respect your father and mother, and also whoever says anything bad to their father and mother must be killed. But you teach that a person can say to their father or mother, 'I have something I could use to help you, but I will not use it for you. I will give it to Elohim instead.' You are teaching them not to respect their father. So you are teaching that it is not important to do what Elohim said. You have cancelled out his words for your own traditions. You are hypocrites. Isaiah was right when he spoke about you. These people honour me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Indeed, their worship of me is worthless. The things they teach are only the rules of men." Yahusha called the people to him, saying, "Listen and understand what I'm saying. It's not what the people put in their mouth that makes them wrong. It is what comes out of their mouth that makes them wrong and unclean." Then his followers came to Yahusha and asked, "Do you know that the Pharisees are upset about what you just said?" Yahusha answered, "Every plant that the Father in heaven has not planted will be pulled up by the roots. So stay away from the Pharisees. They lead the people, but they are like blind men leading other blind men. And if a blind man leads another blind man, both of them will fall into a ditch." Peter said, "Explain to us what you said earlier to the people." Yahusha said, "Do you still have trouble understanding me? Surely you know that all the food that enters the mouth goes into the stomach. Then it goes out of the body into the sewer. But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart. The things people say and do come from the way they think. And that's what makes people wrong and defiled. All these bad things begin in the mind: evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual sins, stealing, lying, and insulting people. These are the things that make people wrong and defiled. Eating without washing their hands will never make people unacceptable to Elohim." Yahusha went from there to the area of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that area came out and began shouting, "Master, son of David, please help me. My daughter has a demon inside her, and she is suffering very much." But Yahusha did not answer her. So his disciples came to him and said, "Tell her to go away. She keeps crying out and will not leave us alone." Yahusha answered, "I was only sent to the lost sheep of Israel." Then the woman came over to Yahusha and bowed before him, saying, "Master, help me." He answered her with this saying, "It is not right to take the children's bread and give it to the dogs." The woman said, "Yes, Master." but even the dogs eat the pieces of food that fall from their master's table." Then Yahusha answered, "Woman, you have great belief. You will get what you asked for." And right then the woman's daughter was healed. Then Yahusha went from there to the shore of Lake Galilee. He went up on a hill and sat down. A large crowd of people came to him. They brought many other sick people and put them before him. There were people who could not walk, people who were blind, crippled, or deaf, and many others, and Yahusha healed them all. People were amazed when they saw that those who could not speak were now able to speak. Crippled people were made strong. Those who could not walk were now able to walk. The blind were able to see. Everyone praised the Elohim of Israel for this. Yahusha called his disciples to him and said, "I feel sorry for these people. They have been with me 3 days, and now they have nothing to eat. I don't want to send them away hungry. They might faint while going home." His followers asked Yahusha, "Where can we get enough bread to feed all these people? We are a long way from any town." Yahusha asked, "How many loaves of bread do you have?" They answered, "We have 7 loaves of bread and a few small fish." Yahusha told the people to sit on the ground. So he took the 7 loaves of bread and the fish, and he gave thanks to Yahuah for the food. He broke the bread into pieces, which he gave to his followers, and they gave the food to the people. All the people ate until they were full, and after this, his followers filled 7 baskets with the pieces of food that were not eaten. There were about 4,000 men who ate there. There were also some women and children. After they all ate, Yahusha told the people they could go home. Then he got into a boat and went to the area of Magdala. Chapter 16. The Pharisees and Sadducees came to Yahusha wanting to test him. So they asked him to show them a miracle as a sign from Elohim. But Yahusha answered, "When you people see the sunset, you know what the weather will be. If the sky is red, you say we will have good weather. And if in the morning the sky is dark and red, you say that it will be a rainy day. These are signs of the weather. You see these signs in the sky and know what they mean. You know how to discern the face of the heavens, but you are unable to discern the signs of the times happening right now. Only a wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." Then Yahusha went away from there. Yahusha and his followers went across the lake, but his disciples forgot to bring bread. Yahusha said to them, "Be careful, guard yourselves against the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." And his followers discussed the meaning of this, saying, "Did Yahusha say this because we forgot to bring bread? What's going on?" Yahusha knew what they were talking about though, so he asked them, "Why are you still talking about bread and not having bread? Your trust is so small. Do you still not understand? Remember the 5 loaves of bread that fed the 5,000 people, and the many baskets you filled with the bread that was left? And remember the 7 loaves of bread that fed the 4,000 people, and the many baskets you filled that time? So how could you think that I'm concerned about bread? I'm telling you to be careful and guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." Then his disciples understood what Yahusha meant. He was not telling them to guard against the yeast used in bread, but to guard against the teachings of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Yahusha went to the area of Caesarea Philippi and said to his disciples, "Who do people say I am?" They answered, "Some people say you are John the Baptist, others say you are Elijah, and some say you are Jeremiah or one of the prophets." Then Yahusha said to his disciples, "But who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living Elohim." And Yahusha answered, "You are blessed, Simon, son of Jonah, for no man has taught you this, but my Father in the heaven has revealed to you who I am. So I say that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my assembly, and the power of death and destruction will not be able to overcome it. And I will give you the keys to Elohim's kingdom, And whatever you forbid here on earth will be forbidden in the heavens, and whatever you permit here on earth shall be permitted here in the heavens. Then Yahusha warned his disciples not to tell anyone he was the Messiah. From that time, Yahusha began telling his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem. He explained that the chief priests and scribes and elders would make him suffer many things, and he told them that he must be killed. Then, on the third day, he would rise from the dead, just like the sign of the prophet Jonah. Peter took Yahusha away from the others to talk to him about this alone. He began to rebuke Yahusha, saying, "Don't be so dramatic, Master. Lighten up. Elohim would never allow you to die. You don't have to die." Then Yahusha said to Peter, "Get out of here, Satan. Get behind me, for you're only here to trip me up with thoughts that are nothing like my Father's, but only those of men." Then Yahusha said to the disciples, "If any of you wants to be my disciple, you must stop thinking about yourself and what you want. You must be willing to carry your torture stake and follow me. Anyone who tries to hold on to their own life will lose it, but anyone who gives up his life for me will find true life. It is worth nothing for you to have the whole world if you yourself are lost. You could never pay enough to buy back your life. The Son of Man will come again with his Father's esteem and with his angels, and he will reward everyone for what they have done. Believe me when I tell you that some people are standing here who will see the Son of Man coming with his kingdom before they die." Chapter 17. 6 days later, Yahusha took Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and went up on a high mountain. They were all alone there. While these guys watched him, Yahusha was instantly transfigured or transformed, his face shining bright like the sun, and his clothes became white as light in majestic splendor. Then 2 other men were there with him, talking. They were Moses and Elijah. Peter said to Yahusha, "Master, it's fantastic that we are here to see this. If you want, I'll put 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." And while Peter was talking, a bright cloud came over them, and a voice came from the cloud saying, "This is my Son, the one I love, and who I delight in. Listen to him." The men heard this voice, and they were very afraid, so they fell to the ground. But Yahusha came to them and touched them, saying, "Stand up, don't be afraid." And looking up, they saw that Yahusha was now alone again. As Yahusha and his disciples were coming down the mountain, he gave them this command: "Don't tell anyone about what you saw on the mountain, but wait until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. Then you can tell people about what you saw." And these guys asked Yahusha, "Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come before the Messiah comes?" Yahusha answered, "They are right to say that Elijah is coming, and Elijah will indeed make all things the way they should be. But I tell you, Elijah has already come, and people did not know who he was, and they treated him badly, doing whatever they wanted to do. It is the same with the Son of Man. Those same people will make the Son of Man suffer." Then the followers understood that when Yahusha said Elijah, he was really talking about John the Baptist, who was preparing people to receive Yahusha. Then Yahusha and his disciples went back to the people, and a man came to Yahusha and bowed down before him. The man said, "Master, be kind to my son. He suffers so much from the seizures he has. He often falls into the fire or into the water. I brought him to your followers, but they could not heal him." Yahusha answered, "Your people today have so little belief. Your lives are so perverted and wrong. How long must I stay with you? How long must I continue to be patient and put up with you? Bring the boy here." Yahusha rebuked the demon inside the boy, and the demon came out, and the boy was healed. Then his disciples came to Yahusha alone, saying, "Well, we tried to force the demon out of the boy, but we couldn't. How come you could?" Yahusha answered, "You couldn't cast the demon out because of your unbelief." Believe me when I tell you, if your trust is only as big as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. You will be able to do anything. But this kind of demon might require prayer and fasting to kick it out. Later his disciples met together in Galilee, and Yahusha said to them, the Son of Man will be handed over to the hands of other men, who will kill him. But on the third day he will be raised from the dead. And his followers were very sad to hear that Yahusha would be killed. Then Yahusha and his disciples went to Capernaum, and there the men who collect the temple tax came to Peter and asked, does your teacher pay the temple tax? Peter answered, yeah, of course he does. Peter went into the house where Yahusha was, and before Peter could speak, Yahusha said to him, who do the kings of the earth get their taxes from? Their own children or from strangers? Peter answered, from strangers. Yahusha said, then the children of the king don't have to pay taxes, do they? But we don't want to upset these tax collectors. So do this. Go to the lake and fish, and after you catch the first fish, open its mouth, and inside you will find a coin. Then take that coin and give it to the tax collectors, and that will pay the tax for you and for me. Chapter 18. About that time, his disciples came to Yahusha and asked, who is the greatest in Allah's kingdom? Yahusha called a little child to come to him. He stood the child in front of his followers and said to them, the truth is, you must change your thinking and become like the little children again. For if you don't do this, you'll never enter the kingdom of heaven. For the greatest person in my kingdom is the one who makes himself humble like this child. Whoever accepts a little child like this in my name is accepting me. If one of these little children believes in me and someone causes that child to sin, it will be very bad for that person. It would be better for them to have a millstone tied around their neck and be drowned in the deep sea. I feel sorry for the people in this world because of the things that make people sin. These things must happen though, but it would be very bad for anyone who causes them to happen. If your hand or your foot makes you sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose part of your body and have eternal life than to have 2 hands and 2 feet and be thrown into the fire that burns forever. If your eye makes you sin, pluck it out and throw it away. It is better for you to only have 1 eye and have eternal life than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into the fire of destruction. Be careful though. Don't think these little children are not important. I tell you that these children have angels in the heaven, and those angels are always with my Father in the heaven. For the Son of Man has come to deliver what was lost. If a man has 100 sheep, but one of the sheep is lost, what will he do? He will leave the other 99 sheep on the hill and go look for the lost sheep, right? And if he finds the lost sheep, he is happier about that 1 sheep than about the 99 sheep that were never lost. So I can assure you, in the same way, your Father in the heaven does not want any of these little children to be lost. If your brother or sister sins against you, go and tell them what they did wrong. Do this when you are alone with them. If they listen to you, then you have helped them and become a proper brother or sister again. But if they refuse to listen, go to them again and take 1 or 2 people with you, so that out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word will be proved. If they refuse to listen to them, tell the whole assembly, and if they refuse to listen to the assembly, treat them as you would treat someone who does not even know Elohim or who is a tax collector. I can assure you that whatever you permit here on earth will be permitted in the heaven, and whatever you forbid here on earth will be forbidden in the heaven. To say it another way, if 2 of you on earth actually agree on anything you pray for, my Father in the heaven will do what you ask. Yes, where 2 or more are gathered together in my name, I am there in their midst. Then Peter came to Yahusha and said, Master, how often do I have to forgive my brother when he sins against me? Up to 70 times? Yahusha said to him, No, not 70 times, but 70 times 70. In other words, continuously, forever. So the kingdom of heaven is like a king who decided to collect the money his servants owed him. The king began to collect his money. One servant owed him several £1,000s of silver, and he was not able to pay the money to his master, the king. So the master ordered that he and everything he owned be sold, even his wife and children. The money would be used to pay the king what the servant owed. But the servant fell on his knees and begged, "Be patient with me, I will pay you everything I owe." The master felt sorry for him, so he told the servant he did not have to pay, and he let him go free. But later that same servant found another servant who owed him 100 silver coins, and he grabbed him round the neck and said, "Pay me the money you owe me." The other servant also fell on his knees and begged him, "Be patient with me, I will pay you everything I own." But the first servant refused to be patient. He told the judge that the other servant owed him money, and that servant was to be put in jail until he could pay everything he owned. All the other servants saw what happened too. They felt very sorry for the man. So they went and told the master everything that happened. Then the master called his servant in and said, "You evil servant, you begged me to forgive your debt, and I said you did not have to pay anything. So you should have given that other man who serves with you the same mercy I gave you." The master was so very angry, so he put the servant in jail to be punished, and he had to stay in jail until he could pay everything he owned. This king did the same as my heavenly Father will do to you. You must forgive your brother and sister with all your heart, or my heavenly Father will not forgive you. Chapter 19. After Yahusha said all these things, he left Galilee and went into the area of Judea on the other side of the Jordan River. Many people followed him. Yahusha healed the sick people there. Some Pharisees came to Yahusha and tried to make him say something wrong. They asked him, "Is it right for a man to divorce his wife for any reason he chooses?" Yahusha answered, "Surely you have heard it said that when Elohim made the world, he made people male and female. And Elohim said, that is why a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two people will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one. Elohim has joined them together, so no one should separate them." The Pharisees asked, "Then why did Moses give a command allowing a man to divorce his wife by writing her a certificate of divorce?" Yahusha answered, "Moses allowed you to divorce your wives because you refused to accept Elohim's teaching. But divorce was not allowed in the beginning. I tell you that whoever divorces his wife, except for the betrayal of whoring or adultery, and marries another woman, is guilty of adultery." His followers said to Yahusha, "If that is the only reason a man can divorce his wife, it is better not to marry." And he answered that this statement is true for some, but not for everyone, only for those who have been given this gift. There are different reasons why some men don't marry. Some were born without the ability to produce children. Others were made that way later in life. And others have given up marriage to focus on the kingdom of heaven. This is for anyone who is able to accept it. Then the people brought their little children to Yahusha, so that he could lay his hands on them to bless them and to pray for them. When his disciples saw this, they told the people to stop bringing their children to him. But Yahusha said, "Let the little children come to me. Don't stop them, because Elohim's kingdom belongs to people who are just like these children." Later, after Yahusha blessed the children, he left there. A man came to Yahusha and asked, "Good teacher, what must I do to have eternal life?" Yahusha answered, "Why do you call me good? Only Elohim is good. And if you want to have eternal life, guard his commands." The man asked, "Which ones?" Yahusha answered, "You must not murder anyone, must not commit adultery, you must not steal, you must not tell lies about others, you must respect your father and mother, love your neighbour the same as you love yourself," all those. The young man said, "I've obeyed all these commands since my youth. What else do I need?" Yahusha answered, If you want to be perfect, then go and sell all that you own. Give the money to the poor, and you will have riches in the heaven. Then come and follow me." But when the young man heard Yahusha tell him to give away all his money, he was very sad. He didn't want to do this because he was very rich. So he left. Then Yahusha turned to his disciples, saying, "The truth is, it will be very hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Yes, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter Elohim's kingdom." His disciples were amazed to hear this. They asked, "Then who can be delivered?" Yahusha looked at them intently and said, "With mankind, this is impossible, but with Elohim, all things are possible." Peter said to him, "We left everything we had and followed you. So what will we have?" Yahusha said to them, "When the new world comes, the Son of Man will sit on his great and marvelous throne, and I can promise you that you who follow me will sit on 12 thrones, and you will judge the 12 tribes of Israel. Everyone who has left houses, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, children, or farms to follow me will get much more than they left. They will have eternal life. Many people who are first now will be last in the future, and many who are last now will be first in the future." Chapter 20. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who owned some land. One morning the man went out very early to hire some people to work in his vineyard. He agreed to pay the workers 1 silver coin for working that day. Then he sent them into the vineyard to work. About 9 o'clock, the man went to the marketplace and saw some other people standing there. They were doing nothing. So he said to them, "If you go and work in my field, I will pay you what your work is worth." So they went to work in the vineyard. The man went out again about 12 o'clock and again at 3 o'clock. Both times he hired some others to work in his vineyard. About 5 o'clock, the man went to the marketplace again. He saw some other people standing there, and he asked them, "Why do you stand here all day doing nothing?" They said, "No one gave us a job." The man said to them, "Then you can go and work in my vineyard." At the end of the day, the owner of the field said to the boss of all the workers, "Call the workers and pay them all. Start by paying the last people I hired, then pay all of them, ending with the ones I hired first." The workers who were hired at 5 o'clock came to get their pay. Each worker got 1 silver coin. Then the workers who were hired first came to get their pay. They thought they would be paid more than the others, but each one of them also received 1 silver coin. When they got their silver coin, they complained to the man who owned the land. They said, "Those people were hired last and worked only 1 hour, but you paid them the same as us. And we worked all day in the hot sun." But the man who owned the field said to the one of them, "Friend, I'm being fair with you. You agreed to work for 1 silver coin, didn't you? Right? So take your pay and go. I want to give the man who was hired last the same pay I gave you. I can do what I want with my own money. Why would you be jealous because I am generous?" So those who are last now will be first in the future, and those who are first now will be last in the future. For many are called, but few are chosen. Yahusha was going to Jerusalem, and his 12 disciples were with him. While they were walking, he gathered the disciples together and spoke to them privately, saying, "Now we're going to Jerusalem. The Son of Man will be handed over to the chief priests and the scribes, and they will say he must be killed. They will hand him over to the Romans, who will mock and laugh at him and beat him with whips. And then they will kill him on a torture stake. But on the 3rd day, after his death, he will be raised to new life again." Then Zebedee's wife came to Yahusha and brought her sons. She bowed before Yahusha and asked him to do something for her. Yahusha said, "Well, what do you want?" She said, "Promise that one of my sons will sit at your right hand in your kingdom and the other on your left." So Yahusha said to these sons, You don't understand what you're asking. Can you really drink from the cup that I must drink from? In other words, a cup of suffering. The sons answered, Yes, of course we can. Yahusha said to them, It is true that you will drink from the same cup that I drink from, but it is not for me to say who will sit at my right or on my left. My Father has decided who will do that. He has prepared those places for them. The other 10 disciples heard this and were very angry with the two brothers. So Yahusha called the disciples together again, saying, You know that the rulers of the nations love to show their power over the people, and their important leaders love to use all their authority over the people. But it should not be this way with you. Whoever wants to be great among you must be your servant. Whoever wants to be first must serve the rest of you like a servant. Do as I did. The Son of Man did not come for people to serve him, but to serve others and to give his life to deliver many people. And when Yahusha and his disciples were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. There were 2 blind men sitting by the road. They heard that Yahusha was coming by, so they shouted, "O Master, Son of David, please help us." The people there criticized the blind men and told them to be quiet. Go and get out of the way, shut up. But they shouted even more and more, "Master, Master, Son of David, have compassion on us and deliver us." Yahusha stopped and said to them, "What do you want me to do for you?" They answered, "Master, we want to be able to see." And Yahusha felt sorry for the blind men, so he touched their eyes, and immediately they were able to see. Then they became followers of Yahusha. Chapter 21. Yahusha and his disciples were coming closer to Jerusalem, but first they stopped at Bethphage at the hill called the Mount of Olives. From there, Yahusha sent 2 of his disciples into town. He said to them, "Go to the town you can see over there. When you enter it, you will find a donkey with her colt. Untie them both and bring them to me. If anyone asks you why you are taking these donkeys, then tell them the master needs them. He will send them back soon." This fulfilled what the prophet said. "Tell the people of Zion, now your king is coming to you. He is humble and riding on a donkey. He is riding on a young donkey born from a work animal." That's in both Isaiah 62 and Zechariah chapter 9. So his followers went and did what Yahusha told them to do. They brought the mother donkey and the young donkey to him. They covered the donkey with their coats, and Yahusha sat on them. On the way to Jerusalem, many people spread their coats on the road for Yahusha. Others cut palm branches from trees and spread them on the road also. Some of the people were walking ahead of Yahusha, and others were walking behind him. Then they all shouted, "Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David! Hosanna, blessed is the one who comes in the name of Yahuwah! Hosanna in the highest!" Then Yahusha went into Jerusalem, and all the people in the city were confused. They asked, "Who is this man?" The crowds following Yahusha answered, "This is Yahusha. He is the prophet from the town of Nazareth in Galilee." Yahusha went into the temple area. He threw out all of those who were selling and buying things there. He turned over the tables that belonged to those who were exchanging different kinds of money, and he turned over the benches of those who were selling doves. Yahusha said to them, "It has been written, my temple will be called a house of prayer, but you are turning it into a den of thieves." Some blind people and some who were crippled came to Yahusha in the temple area, and Yahusha healed them. The chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things he was doing, and they saw the children praising him in the temple area. The children also were shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Hosanna! Hosanna!" All this made the priests and scribes furious. They asked Yahusha, "Do you hear what these children are saying?" But he answered, "Yes. Have you read, 'Out of the mouth of babes and children you have perfected my praise'?" Then Yahusha left them and went out of the city to Bethany, where he spent the night. Early the next morning, Yahusha was going back to the city and was very hungry. He saw a fig tree beside the road and went to get a fig from it. But there were no figs on the tree. There were only leaves. So Yahusha said to the tree, "You will never again produce fruit." And the tree immediately dried up and died. Then his followers saw this. And when they saw this, they were very surprised and asked, "How did the fig tree dry up and die so quickly?" Yahusha answered, "The truth is, if you have trust and no doubts, you will be able to do the same thing as I did to this tree. And you will be able to do so much more. You will be able to say to this mountain over there, 'Go, mountain, go, fall into the sea.' And if you have trust and belief, it will happen." If you believe, you will get anything you ask for in prayer. Yahusha went into the temple area again, and while he was teaching there, the chief priests and the elders of the people came to him, saying, "Tell us, what authority do you have to do these things? Who gave you this authority?" Yahusha answered, "I will ask you a question too, and if you answer me, then I will tell you what authority I have to do these things. So tell me, when John baptized people, did his authority come from Elohim, or was it only from other people?" The priests and the elders talked about Yahusha's question. They said to each other, "Well, if we answer John's baptism was from Elohim, then he will say, 'Then why didn't you believe John and be baptized?' But we can't say that John's baptism was from someone else, for we are afraid of the people, because they will believe John was a prophet, and there'll be a riot if we say that." So they just told Yahusha, "We don't know. We don't know the answer." Yahusha said, "Good. Then I don't know either. I won't tell you who gave me the authority to do these things." Tell me what you think about this, though. There was a man who had 2 sons. He went to the first son and said, "Son, go and work today in the vineyard." And the son answered, "No, Dad, I can't. I don't want to." But later he decided he should go, and he went. Then the father went to the other son and said, "Son, go and work in the vineyard today." He answered, "Yes, sir, I will go and work straight away." But he did not go. So which of the 2 sons ended up obeying the father? The Jewish leaders answered, "The first son." Yahusha said to them, "The truth is, you are worse than the tax collectors and the prostitutes. In fact, they will all enter the kingdom of heaven before you. John came showing you the right way to live, and you did not believe him. But the tax collectors and prostitutes believed John. You saw that happening, but you would not repent, and you still refused to believe him. Listen to this story. There was a man who owned a vineyard. He put a wall around the field and dug a hole for a winepress. Then he built a tower, and he leased the land to some farmers, and then he left on a business trip. Later it was time for the grapes to be picked, so the man sent his servants to the farmers to get his share of the grapes. But the farmers grabbed the servant and beat one. They killed another one and then stoned to death a third one. So the man sent some other servants to the farmers. He sent more servants than he sent the first time, but the farmers did the same thing to them that he did to the first time. So the man decided to send his own son to the farmers. He said, "The farmers will respect my son, surely." But when the farmers saw the son, they said to each other, "This is the owner's own son. This vineyard will all be his. But if we kill him, it will be ours." So the farmers took the son, threw him out of the vineyard, and killed him. So what will the owner of the vineyard do to these farmers when he comes home? The chief priests and leaders said, "He will surely kill all those evil men. Then he will lease the land to other farmers who will give him his share of the crop at harvest time as they should." Yahusha said to them, "Did you ever read in the scriptures, the stone that the builders rejected became the chief cornerstone? Yahuah did this, and it is wonderful to us. I tell you that the kingdom of heaven will be taken away from all of you, and it will be given to people who bear the fruits, bear the behaviors required. Whoever falls on this stone will be broken, but it will crush and pulverize anyone that it falls on." When the chief priests and the Pharisees heard these stories, they knew that Yahusha was talking about them. Then they wanted to find a way to arrest Yahusha. But of course they were afraid to do anything because the people believed that Yahusha was a prophet. Chapter 22. Yahusha used some more stories, parables, to teach the people. He said, "The kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding feast for his son. He invited some people to the feast. When it was ready, the king sent his servants to tell the people to come. But they refused to come to the king's feast. Then the king sent some more servants. He said to them, 'I have already invited the people to tell them that my feast is ready. I have killed my best bulls and calves to be eaten. Everything is ready. Come to the wedding feast.' But when the servants told the people to come, they refused to listen. They all went to do other things. One went to work in his field, and another went to his business. Some of the other people grabbed the servants, beat them, and killed them. The king was very angry, very wroth. He sent his army to kill those who murdered his servants, and the army burned their city. After that, the king said to his servants, 'The wedding feast is ready. I invited those people, but they were not worthy enough to come to my feast. So now go to the street corners, to the highways and byways, and invite everyone you see. Tell them to come to my feast.' So the servants went into the streets. They gathered all the people they could find, good and bad alike, and brought them to where the wedding feast was ready. And the place was filled with guests. And when the king came in to meet the guests, he saw a man there who was not dressed in the right clothes for a wedding. The king said, 'Friend, how were you allowed to come in here? You are not wearing the right clothes.' But the man said nothing. So the king told some servants, 'Tie this man's hands and feet. Throw him out into the darkness where people are crying and grinding their teeth with pain. Yes, many people are invited, but only a few are chosen. Many are called, but only a few are chosen.' Then the Pharisees left the place where Yahusha was teaching. They made plans to catch him out saying something wrong. They sent some of their own followers and some of the group called the Herodians. They approached Yahusha and said, 'Teacher, we know you are an honest man. We know you teach the truth about Elohim's way, and you are not afraid of what others think about you. All people are the same to you. So tell us what you think of this. Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not?' But Yahusha knew that these men were trying to trick him. So he said, 'You hypocrites, why are you always trying to catch me out saying something wrong? Show me a coin used for paying the tax.' So they showed Yahusha a silver coin. He said to them, 'Whose picture is on the coin, and whose name is written on the coin?' They answered, 'It is Caesar's picture, and Caesar's name.' So Yahusha said to them, 'Well, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to Elohim what belongs to Elohim.' And when they heard what Yahusha said, they were amazed and left him straight away. The same day, some Sadducees came to Yahusha. And keep in mind, Sadducees do not believe in the resurrection from the dead. These Sadducees asked Yahusha a question. They said, 'Teacher, Moses told us that if a married man dies and had no children, his brother must marry the woman. Then they will have children for the dead brother. There were 7 brothers among us. The first brother married but died. He had no children, so his brother married the woman. Then the second brother also died. The same thing happened to the third brother and the other brothers also. The woman was the last to die, but all 7 men had married her. So at the resurrection, whose wife will she be?' Yahusha answered, 'You really don't have a clue, do you? You don't know the writings or Elohim's power at all, do you? For people don't get married in the resurrection. People aren't married in the resurrection. That's right, no one will be given in marriage, for everyone will be like the angels in the heavens. Surely you've read what Elohim said to you about people rising from the dead. Yahuah said, I am the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. And Yahuah is not the Elohim of the dead, is he, but of the living. And when the people heard this, they were amazed at Yahusha's teaching. The Pharisees learned that Yahusha had made the Sadducees look so foolish that they stopped trying to argue with him. So the Pharisees had a meeting. Then one of them, an expert in the law of Moses, asked Yahusha a question to test him. He said, "Teacher, which command in Moses' law is the most important?" Yahusha answered, "Love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart, all your being, with all your mind. This is the first and the most important command. And the second command is like it. Love your neighbor the same as you love yourself. For all of Moses' laws and the writings of the prophets hang from these two commands. All the laws and prophets find their complete meaning, completion and fulfillment from these two commands. Loving behavior. All the Torah and prophets is fulfilled if you're having love behavior." So while the Pharisees were together, Yahusha asked them a question. He said, "What do you think about the Messiah? Whose son is he?" The Pharisees answered, "The Messiah is the son of David." Yahusha said to them, "Then why did David call him Master? David was speaking by the power of the Spirit when he said, 'Elohim said to my Master, sit by me at my right hand until I put your enemies under your control.' And David calls the Messiah Master. So how can he be David's son if David calls him Master?" None of the Pharisees could answer Yahusha's question, and after that day, no one was even brave enough to ask him any more questions. Chapter 23. Then Yahusha spoke to the people and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have the authority to tell you what the law of Moses says, so you should obey them. Do everything they tell you to do, but their behavior is not a good example for you to follow. They tell you to do things that they themselves don't do. They make strict rules that are hard for people to obey. They try and force others to obey all their rules, but they themselves will not try to follow any of them. The only reason they do what they do is for other people to see them. They make little scripture boxes or tefillin bigger and bigger, and they make their tassels, their tzitzits on their garments longer and longer so people will notice them. These men love to have the places of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love for people to show them respect in the marketplaces and to call them Rabbi, Rabbi. But remember, you must not ever be called a rabbi, for you are all equal as brothers and sisters, and you have only one teacher. And don't call anyone on earth Father, for you have one Father, and he is in the heaven. And you should not be called a master either, for you only have one master, the Messiah. Whoever serves you like a servant is the greatest among you. People who think they are better than others will be made humble, but people who humble themselves will be made great. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites, because you shut up the kingdom of heaven to mankind. You close the way of access. You yourselves don't enter, and you stop those who are trying to enter also. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites, because you eat up the widows' houses, and for a show you make long prayers. Because of this you shall receive greater judgment. So woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites. You travel across the land and sea to find one person who will follow your ways. And when you find that person, you make them even worse than you are. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites. You guide the people, but you are blind. Blind guides, saying, if anyone uses the name of the temple to make a promise, that means nothing. But anyone who uses the gold that is in the temple to make a promise must keep that promise. You blind, stupid fools, can't you see that the temple is greater than the gold that's in it? It's the temple that makes the gold set apart, you fools. And you say, if anyone uses the altar to make a promise, that means nothing. But anyone who uses the gift on the altar to make a promise or a vow, oh, well, that must be kept, that promise. Damn, you are so blind. Can't you see that the altar is greater than any gift on it? It's the altar that makes the gift set apart. Whoever uses the altar to make a promise is really using the altar and everything on the altar. And anyone who uses the temple to make a promise is really using the temple and Elohim who lives in it. Whoever uses heaven to make a promise is using Elohim's throne and the one who is seated on it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites! You give Elohim 1/10 of the food you get, even your mint, your dill and your cumin, but you don't obey the really important teachings of the law. You know those ones, being fair, showing mercy, compassion, being trustworthy? You don't do those ones. But they're the things you should do. And you should also continue to do those other things as well. You guide the people, but you are blind. Think about a man picking up a little fly out of his drink and then swallowing a whole camel. You're exactly like that. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites! You wash clean the outside of your cups and dishes, but inside they are full of what you got by cheating others and pleasing yourselves. You Pharisees are so blind. First, make the inside of the cup clean and righteous, then the outside of the cup will also be clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, all painted clean and white on the outside. So outside, of course, they look fine, but inside they are full of dead men's bones and all kinds of filth. It's exactly the same with you. People look at you and think you are so righteous and obedient, but on the inside you are full of hypocrisy and evil and lies. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you wicked hypocrites! You build tombs for the prophets, and you show honour to the graves of the righteous people who were killed. And you say, if we had lived during that time of our ancestors, we would never have done those wicked things. We would have helped. We would never have killed these prophets. So you give proof that you are descendants of those who killed the prophets. And you finish the sin that your ancestors started. You brood of evil vipers, you will not escape Elohim. You will all be judged guilty and destroyed. So I tell you this, I send to you prophets and teachers who are wise and know the scriptures. You will kill some of them. You will impale others on torture stakes. You will beat some of them in your synagogues. You will chase them from town to town. You will be guilty for the death of all the righteous people who have been killed on earth. You will be guilty for the killing of that righteous man Abel, and you will be guilty for killing of Zechariah, son of Berechiah. He was killed between the temple and the altar. You will be guilty for the killing of the righteous, obedient people who lived between the time of Abel and the time of Zechariah. Believe me when I say that all these things will happen to this generation living right here and now. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, you killed the prophets. You stoned to death those that Elohim has sent to you. Many, many times I wanted to help your people. I wanted to gather them together as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, but you did not let me. And so now your house will be left completely desolate and empty. I tell you, you will not see me again until that time when you will say, blessed is the one who comes in the name of Yahuah. Now, of course, that man is Yahusha. Yahuah left his throne and became Yahusha. Chapter 24. Yahusha left the temple area and was walking away, but his disciples came to him and wanted to draw his attention to the temple's fine buildings. So he asked them, why are you looking at these buildings and so impressed by them? Don't you know they'll all be destroyed? Every stone will be thrown down to the ground. That's right, not one stone will be left standing on top of the other. And later, Yahusha was sitting at the place on the Mount of Olives, and his disciples came to be alone with him. They said, tell us when these things will happen, and what is the sign of your coming at the end of time? Yahusha answered, be careful, be very careful, don't let anyone fool you. Many people will come and use my name. They will say, I am the Messiah, and they will fool many people. and you will hear about wars that are being fought, and you will hear stories about other wars and rumors of their beginning. Don't be afraid though. These things must happen before the end comes. Nation will fight against nation, ethnic group against ethnic group, and kingdoms will fight against other kingdoms. There will be famines, deadly diseases and viruses and earthquakes in many places. But these things are only the beginning of birth pains, the beginning of troubles. Like the first pains of a woman giving birth, this is just the beginning. Then you will be arrested and handed over to be punished and killed. People all over the world will hate you because you follow me. During that time, many believers will fall away and turn against each other and hate each other. Many false prophets will come and cause many people to believe lies and falsehood. There will be so much more evil and lawlessness in the world that the love of many will just grow cold. But the one who endures and remains trustworthy to the end will be delivered. And the good news I've shared about Elohim's kingdom will be spread throughout the whole world as a witness to every nation. Then, and only then, will the end come. Daniel the prophet spoke about the abomination of desolation, the abomination that lays waste, being set up in the set-apart place. Of course, we know that this is the devil reigning from people's hearts and behaving through their bodies, which is the ultimate idolatry of the fleshly self. This is the true self-worship, the true abomination. So Daniel the prophet spoke about this abomination of desolation. So when you see this happen, and the reader's got to understand, when you see this happen, the people in Judah at that time should run away to the mountains. They should run away without wasting any time. Don't stop for anything. If they're on the roof of their house, they must not go down to get anything out of the house. If they're in the field, they must not go back to get their coat. During that time, it will be hard for women who are pregnant or have small babies. So pray that it will not be in winter or on a Sabbath day when these things happen and you have to run away, because it will be a time of great sorrow and trouble. There will be more trouble than has ever happened since the beginning of the world, and nothing as bad as that will ever happen again. But Elohim has decided to make that terrible time short for the sake of his chosen ones. For if it were not made short, if time is not made short, no one on earth would ever survive. Someone might say to you at that time, "Look, there is the Messiah." Or someone else might say, "Look, there he is." Don't believe them. False messiahs and false prophets will come and do great miracles and wonders, trying to fool the people that Elohim has chosen, if that's possible. Now I have warned you about this before it happens. Someone might tell you, "The Messiah is there in the desert. Look, he's over there." But don't go into the desert to look for him. Someone else might say, "There is the Messiah in the room over there." Don't believe it. For when the Son of Man comes, everyone will see him. It will be like lightning flashing in the sky that can be seen everywhere all at once. It's like looking for a dead body. You will find it where the vultures are gathering above. Right after the trouble of those days, this will happen. The sun will become dark, and the moon will not give light. The stars will fall from the sky, and everything in the sky will be changed. Then there will be something in the sky that shows the Son of Man is coming, and all the people of the world will cry. Everyone will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds in the sky. He will come with power and great glorious esteem. He will use a loud trumpet to send his angels all around the earth, and they will gather his chosen people from the four corners of the world. The fig tree teaches us this lesson. When its branches become green and soft, and new leaves begin to grow, then you know that summer is very near. In the same way, when you see all these things happening, you will know that the time is very near, and he's at the door, ready. I assure you that all these things will happen while some of this generation is still living. The heaven and the earth will be destroyed, but my words will live forever. No one knows when that day or time will be. The Son and the angels in heaven don't even know when it will be either, but only the Father knows. When the Son of Man comes, it will be the same as what happened during Noah's time. For in those days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving their children to be married, right up until the day that Noah entered the ark. They knew nothing about what was happening until the flood came and destroyed them all. And it will be the same when the Son of Man comes. 2 will be out working in the field. 1 will be taken and the other will be left. 2 women will be grinding grain with a mill. 1 will be taken and the other will be left. So always be ready, for you don't know the day or the hour that your master will come. What would a homeowner do if he knew that a thief was going to break in? He'd be ready and not let the thief break in. So you also must be ready, for the Son of Man will come at a time when you don't expect him. Who is the wise and trusted servant? The master trusts one servant to give the other servants their food at the right time. Who is the one the master trusts to do that work? When the master comes and finds that servant doing the work that he gave him, it will be a day of blessing for that servant. I can tell you without a doubt, the master will choose that servant to take care of everything he owns. But what will happen if that servant is evil and thinks to himself that his master will not come back soon, and he will begin to beat the other servants, and he will eat and drink with the others who are drunk? Then the master will come when the servant is not ready, at a time when the servant is not expecting him. Then the master will punish that servant. He will send him away to be with the hypocrites, where people will scream and grind and gnash their teeth with pain. Chapter 25. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 maidens, 10 virgins, who went to wait for the bridegroom. They took their lamps with them. 5 of the girls were foolish, and 5 were wise. The foolish maidens took their lamps with them, but they did not take extra oil for their lamps. The wise girls took their lamps with more oil in jars. And when the bridegroom was very late, the maidens could not keep their eyes open, and they all fell asleep. At midnight, someone announced, "The bridegroom is coming, the bridegroom is coming, quick, come and meet him." Then all the maidens woke up and made their lamps ready. But the foolish girls said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, quick, the oil in our lamps is all gone." But the wise maidens answered, "No, we can't do that. Then the oil we have might not be enough for us all. But go to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves." So the foolish maidens went to buy oil. But while they were gone, the bridegroom came. The maidens who were ready went into the banquet with the bridegroom, into the wedding feast, and then the door was closed and locked. Later the foolish girls came, saying, "Sir, sir, open the door for us, please let us in." But the bridegroom answered, "No way. I don't even know who you are." So always be ready, for you don't know the day or the hour when the Son of Man will come. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will also be like a man leaving home to travel to another place for a visit. Before he left, he talked with his servants. He told his servants to take care of the things while he was gone, and he decided how much each servant would be able to care for. The man gave one servant 5 bags of money. He gave another servant 2 bags, and he gave a third servant 1 bag. Then he left. The servant who got 5 bags went quickly to invest the money, and those 5 bags of money earned him 5 more. It was the same with the servant who had 2 bags. That servant invested the money, and he earned 2 more bags of money. But the servant who got 1 bag of money, he ran away and dug a hole in the ground. Then he hid his master's money in the hole. After a long time the master came back. He asked the servants what they did with his money. The servant who got the 5 bags brought that amount and 5 bags more and gave it to the master. The servant said, "Master, you trusted me to care for 5 bags of money, so I used them to earn you 5 more." The master answered, "Wonderful, you did right. You are a good servant who can be trusted. You did well with that small amount of money, so I will let you care for much greater things now. Come and share my inheritance with me." Then the servant who got 2 bags of money came to the master, and the servant said, "Master, you gave me 2 bags of money to care for, so I used your 2 bags to earn you 2 more. The master answered, "You're good. Very well done. You are a good servant who can be trusted. You did well with a small amount of money also. So now I will let you care for much greater things. Come and share in my inheritance." Then the servant who got 1 bag of money came to the master, and the servant said, "Master, I know you are a very hard man. You harvest what you did not plant. You gather crops where you did not put any seed. So I was afraid. So I ran and hid your money in the ground. Here it is. Here is the 1 bag of money you gave me." The master answered, "You wicked, lazy servant. You say you knew that I harvest what I did not plant, and that I gather crops where I did not put any seed. So you should have put my money in the bank. Then at least when I come home I would have got some interest." So the master told his other servants, "Take the 1 bag of money that servant had and give it to the servant who had 10 bags. Everyone who uses what they have will get more. They will have much more than they need. But people who do not use what they have that I've given them will have everything taken away from them." Then the master said, "Throw that useless servant outside into the darkness, where people will wail and grind and gnash their teeth in agony. The Son of Man will come again with divine greatness, and all his angels will come with him. He will sit as king on his throne in all esteem, and the people of the world will be gathered before him, and he will separate everyone into 2 groups. It will be like a shepherd separating his sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right side and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to the obedient people on his right, 'Come, for my Father has great blessings for you. The kingdom he promised is now yours. It has been prepared for you since the foundation of the world was made. It is yours, because when I was hungry, you gave me food to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I had no place to stay, you welcomed me in your home. When I was without clothes, you gave me something to wear. When I was sick, you cared for me. When I was in prison, you came to visit me.' Then the obedient people will answer, 'Master, when did we ever see you hungry and give you food? When did we see you thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you with no place to stay and welcome you into our home? When did we see you without clothes and give you something to wear? When did we see you sick or in prison and care for you?' Then the king will answer, 'The truth is, anything you did for any of my people here, you also did for me.' Then the king will say to the evil people on his left, 'Get away from me. Elohim has already decided that you will be punished. Go into the fire that burns forever, a fire that was prepared for the devil and his wicked spirits. You must go away now, because when I was hungry you gave me nothing. When I was thirsty, nothing. When I had no place to stay, you didn't welcome me into your home. When I was without clothes, you gave me nothing to wear. When I was sick and in prison, you did not come and care for me.' And then those people will fight back and answer, 'Master, when did we even see you hungry or thirsty? When did we see you without a place to stay? Or when did we see you without clothes or helpless or sick in prison? When did we see any of this and not help you?' The king will answer, 'The truth is, anything you refuse to do for any of my people here, you refuse to do for me.' Then these evil people will go away to be punished forever. But the righteous, the obedient people will go and enjoy eternal life." Chapter 26. After Yahusha finished saying all these things, he said to his disciples, "You know that the day after tomorrow is the Passover. On that day, the Son of Man will be handed over to be impaled on a torture stake." Then the chief priests, the scribes, and the elders of the people had a meeting at the place where the high priest lived. The high priest's name was Caiaphas. In the meeting, they tried to find a way to arrest and kill Yahusha, using trickery and deceit, so that no one would know what they were doing. This is how they planned to arrest Yahusha and kill him. They said, "We cannot arrest Yahusha during the Passover season. We don't want the people to become angry and cause a riot." Yahusha was in Bethany at the house of Simon the leper. While he was there, a woman came to him, and she had an alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume. She poured the perfume on Yahusha's head while he was eating. His disciples saw the woman do this and were very upset with her, saying, "Why waste that expensive perfume? It could be sold for a lot of money, and the money could be given to those who are poor." But Yahusha saw what happened and said, "Why are you bothering this woman? She's done a wonderful, kind thing for me. You will always have the poor with you, but you won't always have me. This woman poured perfume on my body to prepare me for burial after I die. I can tell you now that the good news will be told to people all over the world, and I can assure you that everywhere that good news is spoken, the story of what this woman did here today will also be told, and people will remember her." Then one of the 12 disciples went to talk to the chief priests. This was the follower named Judas Iscariot. He said, "I will hand Yahusha over to you. So what will you pay me for doing this?" The priests gave him 30 silver coins. And after that, Judas was looking for the best time to hand Yahusha over to them. The day before the Passover week began, Yahusha's disciples came to him saying, "We will prepare everything for you to eat the Passover meal. Where do you want to have the meal?" Yahusha answered, "Go into the city. Go to a man I know. Tell him that the teacher says the chosen time is near, and I will have my Passover meal with the disciples at your house." They obeyed and did what Yahusha told them to do and prepared the Passover meal. And in the evening, Yahusha was at the table with his 12 disciples, and they were all eating. Then Yahusha said, "Guys, believe me when I tell you that one of you here tonight will hand me over to my enemies." His disciples were upset to hear this, and each one assured Yahusha, saying, "Master, Master, surely it's not me. I'd never do that to you." Yahusha answered, "The one who's dipping his bread into the same bowl with me will be the one who's betrayed me. The Son of Man will indeed suffer what has been written before, but woe to that man who hands over the Son of Man to be killed, for it would be better for him if he'd never been born." Then Judas, the one who betrayed him, said to Yahusha, "Teacher, surely I'm not the one you're talking about, am I?" Yahusha answered, "Yes, you know it's you." And while they were eating, Yahusha took some bread and thanked Elohim. Then he broke it and gave some to his disciples, saying, "Take this bread and eat it. This is my body." Then later he took a cup of wine, thanked Elohim, and gave it to them, saying, "Take this wine and drink, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which will be poured out for the forgiveness of sins. I want you to know that I won't drink this wine again until the day when we're together in my Father's kingdom and we are drinking it anew." Yahusha was not establishing a bread and wine tradition here, but using the traditional feasts, food and drink at the table as symbols, metaphors for what was about to happen to his own body and blood to usher in a brand new covenant of spiritual deliverance. Then they all sang a song of praise to Elohim and went out to the Mount of Olives. Yahusha told his disciples, "Tonight's going to be pretty horrific, and you'll all stumble and have great sorrow. For it has been written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter and run away." That's from Zechariah 13. "But after I'm killed, I will rise from the dead and go ahead of you into Galilee." Peter answered, "Well, everyone else might freak out tonight, Master, and run away, but I'm not. I won't. I'm here with you until the end." Yahusha answered, "My dear friend, the truth is, tonight you will disown me and say you don't even know me. You will deny me 3 times before the rooster crows, Peter." But Peter answered, "Master, even if I have to die with you, I would never deny you, never." And all the other followers said the same thing. Then Yahusha went with them to a place called Gethsemane, which means oil press, and said to them, "Sit here while I go there and pray." He told Peter, and the 2 sons of Zebedee, James and John, to come with him. Then he began to be very troubled and deeply distressed at what was ahead. Yahusha said to Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, "My heart is so heavy with grief. I feel as if I'm dying. Wait here and watch with me." Then Yahusha went on a little farther away from them and fell on his face and prayed, "My Father, if it's possible, don't make me drink from this cup. But it's not what I desire, but what you desire that will be done." Then he went back to his followers and found them sleeping again. He said to Peter, "Could you men not stay awake with me for 1 hour? Please stay awake and pray for strength against temptation. Your spirit wants to do what's right, but your body is weak." Then Yahusha went away a second time and prayed, "My Father, if I must do this and it's not possible for me to escape it, then I pray that what you want will be done. Your will be done." Then he went back to his followers again and found them sleeping. They could not stay awake. So he left them and went back one more time to pray in the same way. Then Yahusha went back to them again and said, "Are you still sleeping and resting? The time has now come for the Son of Man to be handed over to the hands of sinful men. Stand up, we must go. Here comes the one who will hand me over." And while Yahusha was still speaking, Judas, one of his 12 disciples, approached with a big crowd of people, all carrying swords and clubs. They had been sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. And Judas had given them a sign, saying, "The one that I kiss will be Yahusha, so arrest him." So Judas went straight up to Yahusha and said, "Greetings, teacher," and Judas kissed him. Yahusha answered, "My friend, why have you come here?" Then the men came and grabbed Yahusha and arrested him. And when that happened, one of the disciples with Yahusha grabbed his sword and pulled it out, swinging it at the servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. Yahusha said to the man, "Put your sword back in its place. People who use swords will be killed with swords. Surely you know I could ask my Father, and he would give me more than 12 armies of angels. But it must happen this way to show the truth of what the scripture has said." Then Yahusha said to the crowd, "Why do you come to get me with swords and clubs as if I'm a criminal? Every day I sat in the temple area teaching. You did not arrest me there. But all these things must happen to fulfill what the prophets wrote." Then all of Yahusha's followers left him and ran away for their lives. The men who arrested Yahusha led him to the house of Caiaphas, the high priest. The scribes and the elders of the people who were gathered there also. Peter followed Yahusha, but stayed back at a distance. He followed him to the yard of the high priest's house. And Peter went in and sat with the guards. He wanted to see what would happen to Yahusha. The chief priests and the high council tried to seek false witnesses against Yahusha so that they could kill him, but they found no one. They tried to get people to lie and say that Yahusha had done wrong. So many people came and told lies about him, but the council could still find no reason to kill him. Then 2 people came and said, "This man said, I can destroy the temple of Elohim and build it again in 3 days." Then the high priest stood up and said to Yahusha, "Don't you have anything to say about these charges against you? Are they telling the truth?" But Yahusha said nothing. Again the high priest said to Yahusha, "You're under oath now, mate. I command you by the power of the living Elohim to tell us the truth. Tell us, are you the Messiah, the son of Elohim?" Yahusha answered, "Yeah, that's right. But I tell you, in the future you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of Elohim, and you will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven." And when the high priest heard this, he tore his clothes in rage, saying, "This man has said blasphemy and things that insult Elohim. We don't need any more witnesses. You've all heard his insulting words. What do you all think?" And the Jewish leaders answered, "He's guilty and he must die." Then people spat in Yahusha's face, and they hit him with their fists, and others slapped him. They said, "Come on, prophesy to us, O great Messiah. Tell us who hit you." While Peter was sitting outside in the yard, a servant girl came up to him and said, "You were with Yahusha, the man from Galilee." But Peter told everyone there that this wasn't true. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said. Then he left the yard. But at the gate another girl saw him and said to people there, "This man was with Yahusha of Nazareth. I know him." Again Peter said he was never with Yahusha. "I swear to Elohim, I don't know the man." A short time later those standing there went to Peter and said, "We know you are one of them. It's clear from the way you talk." Then Peter got angry and began to cuss, saying, "I swear to Elohim, I don't know who this Yahusha is. Don't know what you're talking about." And as soon as he said this, a rooster crowed. Then Peter remembered what Yahusha had told him, that before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. And then Peter went outside and wept bitterly. Chapter 27. Early the next morning, this was preparation day of the lambs before Passover. Early the next morning, all the chief priests and elders of the people met and decided to kill Yahusha. They tied him up, led him away, and handed him over to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. When Judas, the one who betrayed him, saw that they decided to kill Yahusha, he was distraught and so very sorry for what he'd done. So he took the 30 silver coins back to the priests and the elders, and Judas said, "I have sinned. I handed over to you an innocent man to be killed." But the Jewish leaders answered, "We don't care. That's your problem, mate, not ours." So Judas threw down the money in the temple and ran away to a nearby field, where he hung himself and died. The chief priests picked up the silver coins in the temple, saying, "Our law does not allow us to keep this money with the temple money, because this money has paid for a man's death." So they decided to use the money to buy a field called the Potter's Field. And this field would be a place to bury people who died while visiting in Jerusalem. That is why the field is still called the Field of Blood. And this fulfilled what Jeremiah the prophet said. They took 30 silver coins. That was how much the people of Israel decided to pay for his life. They used those 30 silver coins to buy the Potter's Field, just as Elohim commanded me. So Yahusha stood before Pontius Pilate, the governor, who asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Yahusha answered, "Yeah, that's right." Then when the chief priests and the elders made their accusations against Yahusha, they said nothing. So Pilate said to him, "Don't you hear all these charges they are making against you? Why don't you defend yourself?" But Yahusha did not say anything, and this really surprised the governor. Every year at Passover time, the governor would free one prisoner, whichever one the people wanted him to free. At that time there was a man in prison who was known to be very evil. His name was Barabbas. And when a crowd gathered, Pilate said to them, "I will free one man for you. Which one do you want me to free, Barabbas or Yahusha, who is called the Messiah?" Pilate knew that they had handed Yahusha over to him because they were just jealous of him. And while Pilate was sitting there in the seat of judgment, his wife sent a message to him saying, "Don't do anything with that man. He's not guilty. Last night I had a dream about him, and it troubled me greatly." But the chief priests and elders told the people to ask for Barabbas to be set free and for Yahusha to be killed. Pilate said, "I have Barabbas and I have Yahusha. Which one do you want me to set free for you?" The people answered, "Barabbas, Barabbas." And Pilate asked, "So what should I do with Yahusha then, the one you call the Messiah?" All the people said, "Impale him, impale him." Pilate asked, "What do you want me to impale him for? What's he done wrong?" But they shouted louder, impale him on a stake." Pilate saw that there was nothing he could do to make the people change. In fact, it looked as if there would be a riot. So he took some water and washed his hands in front of them all, saying, "I'm not guilty of this man's death anymore. You are the ones who are going to do it." The people answered, "Fine, let his blood be on us. You can blame us and even our children." Then Pilate set Barabbas free, and he told some soldiers to beat Yahusha with whips. Then he handed Yahusha over to the soldiers to be impaled on a torture stake. Then Pilate's soldiers took Yahusha into the governor's palace, and all the soldiers gathered around him. They took off Yahusha's clothes and put a scarlet red robe on him. Then they made a crown of big thorns and pushed it onto his head, and they put a staff in his right hand. Then they bowed to him and mocked him, saying, "All hail the King of the Jews, all hail!" And they spat on him. Then they took his stick and kept beating him on the head with it. And after they finished mocking him, the soldiers took off the robe and put his own clothes back on him again. Then they led him away to be impaled on a torture stake. The soldiers were going out of the city with Yahusha, and they saw a man from Cyrene named Simon, and they forced him to carry Yahusha's stake. They came to the place called Golgotha, and Golgotha means the place of the skull. There, the soldiers gave Yahusha some bitter wine mixed with bile, but when he tasted it, he refused to drink it. And the soldiers nailed Yahusha to a torture stake. Then they threw dice to divide his clothes between them, that it might fulfill what was spoken by the prophet. They divided my garments among them, and they cast lots. That's from Psalm 22. The soldiers stayed there to guard him. They put a sign above his head with the charge against him written on it, "This is Yahusha, King of the Jews." And 2 criminals were impaled beside Yahusha, one on the right and the other on the left. People walked by and shouted insults at Yahusha. They shook their heads and said, "Well, you said you could destroy the temple and build it again in 3 days, so come on, deliver yourself. Come down from that stake if you're really the son of Yahuah." The chief priests, the scribes, and the elders were also there, mocking Yahusha, just as the other people did. They said, he delivered others, but he can't deliver himself. People say he's the king of Israel. If he is the king, he should come down now from the stake. Then we'll believe in him. He trusted Elohim, so let Elohim deliver him now, if Elohim really wants him. For he himself said, "I'm the son of Elohim." And in the same way, the criminals on the torture stake beside Yahusha also insulted him. At noon there was darkness across the whole land, and it continued for 3 hours. Then at 3 o'clock, the time the lambs were usually killed in Egypt on the first Passover, at 3 o'clock Yahusha cried out loudly, "Ali, Ali, lema sabachthani," which means, my Elohim, why have you forsaken me? Why have you turned your back on me?" And that's from Psalm 22. Some of the people standing there heard this, and they said, "Look, he's calling for Elijah." One of them quickly ran and got a sponge and filled the sponge with sour wine and tied the sponge to a stick. Then he used the stick to give the sponge to Yahusha to drink from it. But the others said, "Just leave him. We want to see if Elijah comes to deliver him." Again Yahusha cried loudly and then died. And as soon as Yahusha died, the curtain to the most set-apart place in the temple was torn from top to bottom, revealing, of course, no presence, no ark, and the complete scam that the Jewish authorities were running. This veil was torn from top to bottom. Also the earth shook and rocks were broken. The graves opened, and many of Elohim's people who had died were raised from the dead. They came out of the graves, and after Yahusha was raised from the dead, they went into the set-apart city, and many people saw them. How thrilling! The army officer and the soldiers guarding Yahusha saw this earthquake and everything that happened. They were afraid and said, "This was truly the son of Elohim." Many women were standing away from the torture stake watching also. These were the women who had followed Yahusha from Galilee to care for him. Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of James and John were there also. That evening, a rich man named Joseph came to Jerusalem. He was a follower of Yahusha from the town of Arimathea. He went to the Roman governor Pontius Pilate and asked to have Yahusha's body. So Pilate gave orders for the soldiers to give Yahusha's body to him. Then Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a new linen cloth. He put Yahusha's body in a new tomb that he had dug in a wall of a rock. Then he closed the tomb by rolling a very large stone to to cover the entrance. And after he did this, he went away. Mary Magdalene and the other woman named Mary were sitting near the tomb. On the next day, after the preparation day, the chief priests and the Pharisees went to Pilate, saying, "Master, we remember that while that liar was still alive, he said, 'I will rise from the dead in 3 days.' So give the order for the tomb to be guarded very well for 3 days. For his followers might come along and try to steal the body. Then they could tell everyone that he was risen from the dead, and then that lie will be even worse than what they said about him before." And Pilate said, "Fine, take some soldiers and go guard the tomb the best you know." So they all went to the tomb and made it safe from thieves. They did this by sealing the stone in the entrance and putting soldiers there to guard it. Chapter 28. Now after the weekly Sabbath day, toward the dawn on the first day of the week, which is early hours of the Sunday morning, right after the weekly Sabbath, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. Then suddenly an angel of Elohim came from the sky, and there was a huge earthquake. And the angel went to the tomb and rolled the stone away from the entrance. Then he sat on top of the stone. The angel was shining as bright as lightning. His clothes were as white as snow. And the soldiers guarding the tomb were very afraid of the angel. They shook with fear and then fainted like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Don't be afraid. I know you're looking for Yahusha, the one who was impaled. But he's not here. Look, he's risen from the dead, just as he said he would. So come and see the place where his body was. Then quickly go and tell his followers, Yahusha has risen from the dead. He's going into Galilee and will be there before you. So you will see him there. Look, I've told you this, now go." So the women left the tomb quickly. They were afraid, but they were also rejoicing with great joy. They ran to tell Yahusha's followers what had happened. Suddenly, Yahusha was there in front of them. He said, "Hello there." The women went to him, and holding on to his feet, they worshipped him. Then Yahusha said to them, "Don't be afraid. Go tell my disciples to go to Galilee, and they'll see me there." Then the women went to tell the others, and at the same time, some of the soldiers who were guarding the tomb went into the city. They went to tell the chief priests everything that had happened. Then the priests met with the elders and made a plan. They actually paid the soldiers a lot of money and said to them, "Tell the people that Yahusha's disciples came during the night and stole the body while you were sleeping. And if the governor finds out about this, we'll talk to him also and keep you out of trouble." So the soldiers kept the money and obeyed the priests. And that same story, that same lie, is still spreading today among the Jews. So the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Yahusha told them to go. And on the mountain they saw Yahusha, and they fell down and worshipped him. But some of the followers did not believe that it was really Yahusha. So he came to them and said, "Look, all power and authority in the heaven and on earth has been now given to me. So go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the set-apart Spirit, teaching them to guard everything that I have instructed you to do. And never forget that I am with you always, and will continue with you always until the end of time." When Yahusha said in the name of the Father, the Son, and the set-apart Spirit, Yahusha is the true name of all these images. Yahusha is the fullness of all these names, all these titles, in bodily resurrected form. He is the new creation, the new species of being. Yahuah metamorphosed into a human being, and through his incorruptible seed of procreation within the virgin woman, he lived a perfect life. And then he died for his bridal people, for their deliverance. Yahusha is the new Elohim we serve and worship, and Yahuah is no more. So we are spiritually baptized, not in water, not in physical H2O. We are baptized in spirit and in fire, into the name of Yahusha for our only source of eternal life and deliverance, through a new and living blood covenant based on far greater promises and new blood, and the fulfillment of all the commandments of old. All the Torah and prophets hang on these two royal laws of loving behavior. You go through the narrow vein, you go through the narrow gate for your deliverance. You're baptized in spirit and in fire, knowing that Yahusha is your Elohim, and he transitions you into his wilderness through the portal of a quarry, your home quarry, where you are prepared, chiseled, and matured to put on love, where your flesh is put off. The self must die, and we must be perfected. We must pick up our torture stakes and follow Yahusha, and we see what he went through. So we must go through for him. This was the Gospel of Matthew from the Behaviour Revolution Scriptures. Thank you.